Hello everybody and welcome to another exciting episode of Do You Expect Us to Talk? I'm as ever your host Becca, and with me are the amazing Chris and Dave. Hi!
Wow, amazing! Well, we have reached the final chapter in our Bond saga, so it is kind of amazing, isn't it?
It's the final film.
Yes. We've got one more episode to go after this. The farewell one.
This is it.
Yeah,
we're doing the rankings episode, but this is our ultimate, well for now, until the next one comes out, the ultimate James Bond retrospective review, or reviewmentary. We're mashing the review and the commentary.
Yeah, till a new one starring Tom Hiddleston comes out.
Yeah, there will be, if we're still going when the next film comes out, which I fully expect us to be, we will be covering future Bond films, and they will just slot into whatever schedule we're doing at the time.
Yeah.
So if you keep these, you can just add it to the Bond films, or just consume it as a podcast, however you do these things. So it's not the last Bond film we'll ever do, but it's the last of our Bond series for now.
Yeah, for now, until the next one's come out. This week, we are, of course, it's the last Bond movie in the current series, so we are reviewing Spectre, starring Daniel Craig, Christoph Waltz, Léa Seydoux, Ralph Fiennes, Monica Bellucci, Ben Whishaw, Naomie Harris, Dave Bautista, and directed by Sam Mendes, and released in 2015. So, right, let's get to it. Let's find out what we make of Spectre.
Yes, this is going to be a bit of a short and sweet review, isn't it, really? Because we've kind of
It's an update.
Yeah, we kind of spent 2 hours reviewing it when it first came out, and I think there's a lot of compliments, a lot of ranting going on. There's very mixed emotions and that. So now time has passed. Dave, how do you feel on Spectre?
Yeah, I mean, I think I do remember somebody saying to us or about us. I forget which now because I can't remember where. They'd heard us, I think, when we talked to Charlie or on another episode where we got into talking about Spectre again, that we all appeared to have changed our minds. And I wouldn't say that's true. I would say you, of all three of us, Chris, have been the most consistent. I can't second guess what you'll say tonight, but since the film's been released, you've largely said the same things. Of the three of us, I think I'm the only one that's really shifted. I still like it. I do. I still kind of enjoy it, but it's not going to be a go-to Bond film going forward. I've not watched it as much as I expected to. I'm seeing more flaws in the final third than well, no, that's not true. I saw the flaws in the final third to begin with, but I was so ready for them because of all this Blofeld and it's his, foster brother sort of angle that
Spoiler alert.
I went in expecting to hate it. But because I was so ready for it, I almost overcorrected.
Yeah, you braced yourself from the impact.
I braced myself for it, and then it didn't offend me. We had the lead-in from the MGM logo with the sort of music building. We're going to go to it in a moment, but we got the gun barrel in the right place, and I kind of quite liked that gun barrel. I liked the opening sequence. And I went through the film very, very happy because it was such a stylish Bond film. Both cinema watches, I had a great time with it. When I watched it at home, I liked it. And I wouldn't be any more emphatic than that. And we'll talk about it as we go through it. Certainly, when we reviewed it the first time, I felt not very long afterwards that both Becca and I had got caught up in the hype a little bit. You never did. I still think it's a good Bond film. I don't see all the hatred for it. I don't quite understand why it was so slaughtered in America. If Daniel Craig is indeed done, the two Bond films he'll be remembered for is Casino Royale and Skyfall. But it's not bad.
I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm trying to think about what I originally thought about it, because I did enjoy my time when I was watching the cinema, like yourself, Dave. I was just a little bit more. And I know what you mean about the whole reveal of the last act. It's like we all kind of knew it was coming. So, but by the time it came up, you were just more disappointed and annoyed. I mean, I was just. I think I was more annoyed at okay, fine, do the twit, but you don't need to be that lazy with it, because I thought everything else about it was just by the numbers and just kind of ill thought out. And I think really spent that long. Yeah, I had three whole years to develop a story. 2 years. Plus shooting, and you couldn't come up with anything better. So part of me, and I think the film still suffers from that. I think it probably up there with one of the weakest of the Bond films if you take it from a narrative point of view. What escalates it is I suppose just like some style, some touches, some action beats.
It's totally look at the shiny, isn't it?
Yeah, I think. I think some of it does look nice, but I think in the same way I kind of feel similar towards Skyfall, but it's like a lesser version of Skyfall, or like a more like at least Skyfall felt better as a film, and at least it had some balls to step away from what is well known. This one kind of like wants to go, let's do the old stereo Bond tropes, but let's kind of do a little bit half-assed. But look how great it looks. It's got that sort of Sam Mendes kind of like sheen to it, which I think does help it. It doesn't quite put it like towards the bottom, but you can compare it to all the other rest of films in the Bond series. It doesn't hold up really. I do feel like sometimes the action is kind of weak, which is a shame. There's a few moments.
Well, I thought when I went to see it that I was watching, certainly I think the theme of my first review of it was that I was watching, for want of a better expression for it, a lesser great. I didn't think I was watching a Majesty's or a Casino Royale, but I genuinely thought it would not necessarily that it was better than Skyfall, but I'd enjoyed it more than Skyfall on the first couple of viewings. And I thought I was watching a lesser one of the greater Bond films, if you like. What bothered me as it sunk in, because I still think I'm one of the few people who thinks this looks better than Skyfall, but what has annoyed me as time's gone by is my two favourite Bond films have the two best love stories in the series. And whilst I don't think every Bond film needs or should be a love story, this film set itself up as the sort of spiritual successor to like a Majesty's by having Bond really fall for somebody, and it doesn't sell it. There are half a dozen relationships at least in this series that outstrip it for chemistry and believability. And when you put Majesty's in the score to your trailer, that is a real statement of intent for what you're going to do, and they let themselves down there. But it's a very stylish film. Yeah. I read a lot of poorer reviews that said Daniel Craig looked bored, and we had Charlie on our show say that. I don't agree. I think Daniel Craig was an extremely dominant, effective performer in this film, but it's not as great as I thought it was.
Yeah, the last point I was going to say is that in regards to the action, I just kept thinking about Casino Royale and how I miss that kind of roughness, that brutalness of the fight scenes. We kind of get it with Dave Bautista as Hinks, but then again, he's not as beat up. It's not as brutal. It's not as like physical as. And I know it's like boohoo, like Casino Royale's my favourite. It's not like my favourite, which I fully hold up. Yes, I'm biased towards that, but hang
on, let's take that down a notch. Casino Royale, I think you would get that blowback, but I think, would we agree the hand-to-hand fighting at least is better in Quantum of Solace?
But hand-to-hand fighting is from Spectre?
Quantum of Solace than Spectre, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, that's not a critical darling, so to say that, I think, probably would carry a bit more weight.
That's saying something.
Yeah, I know, but I was just, obviously my favourite is Casino Royale, and I just think about the fight scene, the fight scenes and that, and I just, how that really connected and worked for me. And I was like, it was kind of like a statement of intent with Craig coming in, and it was like, oh shit, now we've got a fucking badass Bond with this kind of action. Yes, I'm all in. And now we come to like, the third or fourth film, and that's gone.
When we were sort of getting ready for this film, I went back to look at what interviews there were, specifically post the film's release, all the sort of press tour stuff. And Daniel Craig was doing the one thing that they all fall into, and they really shouldn't. He said, the first thing we did when we got together was think, how do we top the last one? And I'm thinking, well, that's your problem right there. That's why by the time you get to the fourth or fifth film in a Bond actor's run, they're fucking stupid. Because it's constantly, let's top the last one. Forget the last one, tell us a story. Casino Royale wasn't topping anything in scale. and it's a magnificent
well,
film.
If it did, it didn't have much to go from, did it?
He fought a meteor. Majesties is a much smaller film in some respects than You Only Live Twice. For Your Eyes Only is better than Moonraker and much smaller. And I just think that it doesn't mean large and fantastical can't work. But if you constantly go in with, let's top the last one, eventually you're going to be in a really silly place. And whilst I don't think this film's that ridiculous, yes, we have moved by degree away from Casino Royale. What do you think, Becca?
I was just thinking, if we end up trying to keep, making the next one bigger and better, we're going to end up with, Bloat and Purge again. We're going to be sort of Die Another Day level, and then back down to, Casino Royale, reboot territory. So I don't think the only way it must be down, surely. I think I'm kind of leaning more towards Chris than I am you, Dave, I think.
Oh, wow.
Rose-tinted spectacles are definitely off. I saw this quite a few times at the cinema, more than I care to admit. And I think I just kind of milked it for all it was worth, really. But yeah, I mean...
Oh, not bloody Spectre again, jeez.
Oh, bloody hell. Yeah, it might move down the bottom of my rankings slightly.
Wow.
I mean, it's still enjoyable. It's still enjoyable. There's parts in it I really like. Like, for example, despite the hentai porn, I love the title sequence. I just think it's amazing.
It's just basically seeing a shirtless Daniel Craig surrounded by fire, isn't it?
Damn it, my secret's out. No, there's lots that I like, but there's quite big, massive holes. There's lots of the science of this film is all wrong.
We'll get to it. The Q stuff is awful.
It's quite a lot of scientific inaccuracies. I'm no scientist, but I have friends who are, and they've said, "Oh, this is wrong, that's wrong," and I'm like, "Yep."
I just love Q's little laptop gadget. You can just sort of trace everything from one of my.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that in the review. So, are you saying you're not particularly fond of this film now?
I still like it. But yeah, it's kind of it's a lesser Bond movie. It's kind of isn't not quite Your Majesty's, not quite Casino Royale, but it's kind of more but at the same time, I don't think it's as bad as Die Another Day, for example. It's kind of middling. It's gone. It's one that if I said, I want to watch a Bond movie tonight, which one shall I watch? I wouldn't automatically opt for Spectre, sadly.
No, I don't think I would either.
There's lots to say. I would still, I still enjoy it. There's lots that I like. There's a little bit more that I dislike. But I just, it's kind of gone down a little bit, falling down to my rankings.
I think the main problem with it is it's just disappointing because it does come across as so grand, and you think, oh wow, this is going to be up there with Skyfall and whatnot. It just lets itself down in most of its other aspects. It's just
that's it exactly. It's crushing disappointment. I mean, he's mentioned using the sort of chords of the Majesty's theme in the in the trailer, and then for that not to be present in the film, it's just like, what?
I'm glad though. I'm now glad with the end result. I mean, there was a draft of the script where at the end of the film he turns to her and says, "We have all the time in the world." That
would have pissed you off.
So that would have taken you out of the movie, wouldn't it? Really.
Now, I'm not saying nothing can ever touch Majesties. I personally don't think there'll ever be a better Bond film, or I don't think there'll be a film to split the top two. To be honest with you, and we'll talk about what they are, them and why they're there next week. But I do think it's going to be very tough for a Bond film to get near those two. But it's not that I go in refusing it can happen. But if you're going to leverage anything like Tracy, along those lines, or the music and things like that, you've really got to earn it. And I don't think this film did. What I will say, though, is, and I'll freely admit it, and it doesn't happen to me often, I normally keep my opinions fairly level, but I was beguiled by the shiny, because everybody raves about the way Skyfall looks, and I found it washed out, digital, silly fucking crew car. I just didn't like the way it looked. This film was so beautiful, and everyone looked so well dressed in it.
It's more colourful, isn't it, I think?
And you had the gun barrel in the right place. Yeah. And there were things about it that I just walked out going, "Now that was a fucking Bond film." And
the first half is actually, I remember actually being naughty and looking at the shooting script, and I remember and I remember looking at the shooting. I thought, fucking hell, the first half is fucking gold. I'm like, this looks absolutely amazing. Yeah, this is, and then obviously we have issues with the last part, but
the difficult third act.
So the so like the first half is absolutely fine in my eyes. But even though I've said some criticism, I did find the opening scene a little bit, so what?
Having seen Skyfall last week, it's not as good as Skyfall's.
Yeah, and I don't know what it is, and I think I'll put it down to like I said with Skyfall, because I was a little bit critical of their action scenes and that. I think I don't know what it is, but I just think it's just Sam Mendes is not an action director. I don't, I mean, he's got the right people surrounding him and it looks great and it's well thought out, but in terms of making the action kind of land, it just his action scenes just seems like, yeah, they're there, they're decent enough, but they're not like brilliant, you know what I mean?
Actually, I don't mind the action scenes in this film. I mean, Quantum's probably a bit better because of the way they're edited.
I don't mind
them. I mean, this way, for example, I mean, I love the fight on the train between Bond and Hinks. It's just brutal. And for me, it's number 2 to the fight between Bond and Red Grant in From Russia with Love. To me, I just think it's that good.
I think, Chris, what I would say on that, Becca, Chris has problems with that scene for reasons he's just talked about.
Sure.
Had Bond been in the bathroom Casino Royale style afterwards, dabbing blood away and drinking scotch and shaking, I think the fight would have been better in retrospect.
Oh, sure.
It's the fact that he was shagging 10 seconds later.
Yeah, that's a bit...
Yeah.
I mean, I like the way and kind of like the choreography and the way it's cut together. I mean, the fight itself is just...
I like it. I think it's a really great fight.
Yeah. No, it's one of the highlights of the film for me,
Sure.
But
in terms of the way it's kind of plotted, it could be a bit better.
But things are like there's the little things that we will like kind of comment on because we are going to do a commentary straight after this. We are going to go like, oh, I really like this bit and talk about what as they happen as you watch the film.
Sure.
So that's kind of one of the benefits of this review. I suppose we can kind of like pinpoint certain points where we think what we like and what we don't like as we watch it, while giving a general summary as well. I still think Waltz is kind of sleeping through this film myself. I don't think he's... it's not like he's bad. I don't think Christoph Waltz can ever be bad in anything because he's that good an actor.
I wouldn't have expected Christoph Waltz to be the third best villain of the 4 Daniel.
Third best villain.
Well, you know what I mean, because the Schiffer and Silver are both better.
Yeah. Yeah, he's amazing in whatever he does. I mean, for me, he can do no wrong. And still, I mean, even people have accused him of not being lazy but sleeping through this film. He still manages to be creepy, in all the right ways. And yeah, I'll have to kind of rank the Blofelds as well.
Yeah, no, it's a shame because I feel it's just a bit of a wasted opportunity, and I don't necessarily blaming Christoph Waltz because I don't think he was actually given enough to do. I think of what he was given. I mean, I'll be honest.
If I went to rank the Blofelds, they'd start at number 22. Do you know what I mean? I don't think any of them are that good, so I couldn't.
Charles Gray, number 1, most fun.
Charles Gray was certainly number 2.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, that's right. Looking more past 7.
Which now sounds like a shit euphemism. Thanks, Becca. We've done our first turn joke.
So yeah, if we've got anything more to add then, because we have just given a brief summary of what we think of Spectre. I mean, blimey, only 20 minutes and I thought it would be a bit longer, but... have we got any fun facts, Becca, before we...
Yes, I have 007 fun facts.
Excellent! Let's party!
Come on, Cole, check back! 50, 50, 50! 50, 50, 50!
Don't call that number, folks, whatever you do. Okay, so number 1. The DB-10 was built specifically for this film. Only 10 have ever been built. And the crew took 18 nights, spent over 3 weeks filming the chase scene in Italy between Bond and Hinks. Fact number 2. Writings on the Wall is the first Bond theme sung by a British male solo artist in 50 years since Tom Jones warbled his way through Thunderball.
Warbled being a key word there for Sam.
Yeah, he did warble his way through it.
And then fainted.
And then, collapsed. And it's also the first to reach number 1 in the UK charts. Yeah. Let me see.
It just reminds me of what Sam Smith said. Like we said, I wrote the theme in like 15 minutes. It's like, well, could you just not spend a little bit longer on it? To be honest with you, Sam, really.
Oh, I like it, and I'll tell you why later on. Anyway, fun fact number 3. This is Daniel Kleinman's 007th title sequence for the film, and obviously.
I'm sorry, just 007, for Jesus Christ.
I'm sorry, this is cheesy. We're going all out, okay? So he's kind of roughly at the halfway point for Morris Binder there. Fun fact number 4, Oberhauser / Blofeld, spoiler alert, his Rolls-Royce Wraith also took David Williams to the premiere of Spectre, so that was pretty cool. If you were there on the opening night, you got to see the car, so very impressive. Fun fact number 5, seen going into Rule's restaurant, opened in 1798. It is London's oldest restaurant. Very good meals there too, I can highly recommend it. Anyway, fun fact number 6.
What did you have when you were there, Becca?
Hang on a minute, let's keep this party going!
Come on, Cole, check back!
50. Now what did I have? I had a fish dish. All the other...
A fish dish. That's kind of vague. That's kind of vague.
Which leads to fact number 7. Léa Seydoux. You can watch Léa Seydoux with a fish dish. Blue is the warmest colour.
I had something quite tasty.
Sorry.
I just got it. I'm sorry.
Oh God.
Oh God. I'll never think of that way again. Jesus.
Sorry. Oh,
Oh my God, my face.
I got through a lot of movies that night.
I bet you did, Dave. I've got a bit of choke on this now. Oh dear.
Fishbone.
Anyway.
Sorry. Go on, carry on, Becca.
I had white wine and not red wine, so I know how not to be a communist. Yeah, fun fact 006. This is the first Bond film soundtrack not to feature the trumpet playing of Derek Watkins since he passed away in 2012, just before the release of Skyfall. And then lastly, fun fact 007. Hinks's Jag CX-75 can reach 0 to 100 miles per hour in under 6 seconds, so that's pretty speedy. So that's my final 007 Bond fun facts.
Oh, I see. That's why you went for 7, because it's the last one.
Yep.
You can't really have fun facts during the rankings, can you? Fun fact, I've just put this at number 16. Doesn't it?
Fun fact,
okay.
Line of the Day is not my number 1. Oh.
Will you bring fun facts back for future series?
Yes, I would like to.
So long as it's IMDb trivia, there will always be fun facts.
Okay.
Was that some from my own knowledge? Some are IMDb trivia, some are other sources.
Just think when we get to Star Trek, it will be 0891 50 50 50 50 in space.
Right, let's go, folks. You're going to cue us up.
Okay.
Chris, cue us in.
Okay, well, it's comedy time, folks, and we're watching the latest James Bond adventure, as they like to say, Spectre. No surprises guessing who the villain in this is. Yeah, Mendes, you fucking idiot. Anyway, so that sounded a bit harsh. It probably wasn't his call. To be honest, it probably wasn't even his call. It probably was like the Broccoli's making like some sort of, they did it in Star Trek. Yeah, and everyone fucking hated it. Right, we're watching it on the Blu-ray. So we've got the menu lined up. I've got the finger on the play button. So on the count of 3. So when you're ready, guys.
Go.
Yeah.
You're poised?
I'm ready. Yeah, poised and ready.
Okay. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. And now we're playing. And I've got a message saying, copyright material. Blah, 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 blah. So is this Bond series going to leave Sony now? You think?
Well, it's only welcome to bid if they want. The strong rumours, risk of dating this, the strong rumours Warner Brothers.
Okay,
It'll still be MGM, but MGM aren't a distributor anymore. I've even heard a rumour MGM are thinking of going back to distribution themselves. So it may just be MGM, yeah. But if it goes to an outside studio, I know they've had talks with a few, and there's a rumour, and it's only a rumour, that Warner Brothers are in a strong position.
Okay.
It's the gun barrel! God.
Yeah, I think this is his best gun barrel, though I kind of prefer not to have the CGI blood.
No. Well, it's not as bad as Casino Royale's version. If that's the mod version, it's all right.
And without being sniffy, I would prefer it to kind of like move and go into the scene rather than fade out.
Yeah, I would.
But then again, if they did that in Skyfall, I would have been better than not having it. So
yeah, I think as I said in the review, if that's what the gun barrel's going to be now, fine. I think that's all right. I'm just glad we've got it. The problem is we're trying to walk a fine line between tradition and moving things on. So part of me sympathises with Charlie's idea of the music has to change, they have to develop this series and move it on. But then there's another part of me that's like, what, the fucking gun barrel's not there? So I think there are certain things you have to have. There are certain things after 50 years that make Bond, you have to have the gun barrel.
It's like, you know, in Star Trek films without the crawl. Without the Star Wars films, without the the crawl at the beginning. It's like, what?
Yeah, actually, I was trying to think of an analogy when we were talking to, I think it was Charlie, when we were saying, well, Paramount, or it might have been the Scuffle episode, we were talking about what was like it, and there wasn't anything quite like it filmed. Yes, there is, the Star Wars crawl.
Yeah, that's the only sort of film series I can think that's got like an iconic beginning.
If you had a cold open to a Star Wars film, they'd be
weird, be wrong, you know. The last couple of Daniel Craig films, I'm glad they've kept the gun barrel in, but it needs to be front, needs to be at the beginning. So I'm glad it's back at last.
Yeah, big point is having the crawl at the end of the film, wasn't it?
It's a précis of the film you've just watched. Oh,
yes.
Just to fill you in on stuff that's happened before.
Luke tugged one out about his sister, and see you next time, folks.
So anyway, this lift that they get into, the same lift that we see Bond and Miss Kennedy jump into in License to Kill, I believe.
Is it really?
Oh, right.
I'll give some extra fun facts during this film that you don't know about.
Yeah, unfortunately I can't play the jingle every time.
No, we don't do that.
Although I was considering playing it over Dan Craig's fucking Man Talk advert and coming up. I actually went looking for that Man Talk advert, I couldn't find it. So, do you expect us to talk's YouTube search history now has gay chat lines in it? Because I was desperately looking for the chat line advert to put over that.
That's a fun fact.
Now I know this sequence has got a lot of praise because it's all done in one shot, sort of. Or it's all made to.
It's not really, is it?
And I kept thinking, well, what was the point? Well, what is actually the whole point? It's just basically hey, look at it, looks flash, and I don't think it adds anything to the actual film. Just the general thought. I was watching it again recently, and I was just this kind of just showboating, really.
Yeah, basically your feelings about this 2 minutes are my feelings about the entire film Birdman.
Yeah, well, to be honest, Dave, I absolutely agree with you on Birdman.
Fucking loathed it. It's like they're wanking off. I was like, did you never see Rope? It was done better, 60 with a decent film.
Yeah, definitely. So
the thing with Birdman as well, the only time you had two women together, they fucking copped off with each other. It's like, Jesus Christ. It's like a student film.
We need to fail the Bechdel test.
It's like, I do think he's a really good director, but he does like to show off a little bit too much, and it was in The Revenant, I thought, as well. I thought, Jesus Christ, the film he told did not need to be 2.5 hours long. And
it's been done before, and it's been done better.
What about Reverend or?
No, just the sort of faux one take.
Yeah, but but it was just all about a little bit too very arty-farty. It's what it means to be an artist.
Style and no substance.
Let's tell off the audience who think they're going to go watch a superhero film and tell them how they were stupid for watching it. It's no, really, just watch those films because they want to be entertained. Really,
the only thing I liked about Birdman was Edward Norton.
The performances.
Edward Norton.
Yeah. Well, it's right. Yeah, I like performances in general, but yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point, listeners. If you haven't
Isn't
had a chance to check out Birdman yet, catch it out.
Is it here? He says he comes out with a bit of a Roger Moore quip in this film. I'm sure he says bottoms up at some point.
Yeah, in a moment, didn't they? So they sealed the deal. So
basically, in my head, Roger Moore says bottoms up in every scene he's ever in.
Bottoms up.
That's Man the Dawn Gun. Bottoms up. It's bottoms up
club, isn't it? Yeah, that's the one. Sadly not there anymore. It closed a few years ago. Very sad.
Oh.
Well, I'm probably not the sort of person I would want to go to the Bottoms Up Club. There we go, Bottoms Up, there it is.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Quick, there he is. Oh! Oh! Oh, you missed. No! No.
It's not a very stable bomb, that, to take a bullet.
No, it's not.
No.
This bit was quite good to see on the IMAX screen. Good.
Yeah, although that looks quite... Even though he is actually there, I think, but that looked really green screen then.
It did look a little bit... I mean, I think the visuals in this film are probably the best they've ever been, like, in the Bond series. There are some moments of... You can tell, you know, the outline, like, during the fight on the helicopter, but generally I think the visuals are stunning.
Well, to be fair, they spent 300 fucking million on it.
So it bloody well should look decent.
Yeah. You know, Daniel Craig was only like 3/4 of that.
Sorry, I'm going to laugh. If I find something funny, I'm sorry, I'm going to laugh. I don't care.
Well, that's what happens when you find something funny.
Well, that's it, exactly. That bit where he lands on the couch.
Chris and I have been studying it.
Generally, that is what happens, but... No, I was talking about this with a friend recently, and he was like, what? You find that funny? I was like, yeah, I think it's funny. You know?
Now watch as they try and like make it this like a really tense like showdown. Daniel Craig versus like a 60-year-old rigid man.
He's not 60. He's just prematurely greying. I think he's.
This is a man twice his age.
Well, you would say that he's older.
He might not be. You know, Daniel Craig's 47 here. That guy could easily be 47.
Okay, fair enough. But in terms of like who Bond is anyway,
Let's find out.
You know.
That's right.
I mean, you'd say like I was picturing Bond playing like not 47.
Yeah, all right, fair enough.
I'm going to settle this argument.
I can settle it.
Well, no, not really, but go on IMDb.com and find out who he is.
It's Mr. Monica Bellucci.
Yes.
Yeah. It's Vincent Cassel.
Really?
Yeah. Vince Cassel's in the new Bourne film, isn't he?
Yes.
He's a baddie in
Looking
that.
forward to that.
Yeah.
They got Alessandro Carmona. Here he is. Oh. Now, audio's not what he's known for. Anyway.
So it does look like I do actually really want to go to like the festival. It does actually look kind of like an interesting place to.
Yeah, I think it's amazing how they managed to recreate it just for this film. I think it's immense. It's something like over 1,500 people to like 6 months, planning and design and everything. It's just incredible.
But it pissed off the locals. Like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, I think they pulled. They spoke to the mayor and said, right, okay, we'll do you a deal. So, oh dear. Oh, it's so cool. If there's only one bit in the scene that I don't like. That's not Sam.
No.
That's even before we get to Sam Smith. But,
oh, you really like Sam Smith, don't you?
yeah, I must. Yeah, I like the theme tune. I'm afraid. It's because the lyrics are really fitting as well between Bond and Madeline. It just all comes together nicely.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a bit of a spoiler though because I hadn't yet seen the film, and you have to listen to him going. And I'm thinking, well, give it all away, Sam. I know what's going to go.
The
lyrics are amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sam Smith. I didn't realise we had
Dave has a voice of an angel.
a celebrity guest. Yeah, Dave, voice of an angel.
But, spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Really? When?
Oh dear. Yeah, this looks a bit fake.
A bit? Fucking hell. That's really fake. I mean,
And
Christ,
fighting's also real,
why
but
can't they just put actors in peril?
No. There's a thing called insurance.
Exactly, he's insured. No matter if he falls to his death. Make a good bit of money out of it.
Dear. Yeah, that looks fake.
Yeah, Becca, you won't. If you keep pointing out every time it looks fake, you won't shut up.
That looks fake.
This whole scene looks fucking shit.
Hold on a minute.
I like the sequence, but every time you see him, particularly on
This bit always looks uncomfortable. You have to ring. Oh, that looks interesting. I'll say that.
Magpie.
I can just imagine the director saying to, I can imagine the director saying to me, saying, "Right, Daniel," and then this happens, and then you take his ring, and then they all stand there.
Oh God, no, not that, not that!
And it's like, cut. That's not quite what we meant, Daniel. Yeah, you take his ring, and then it's all bloody.
Oh.
Really? I wasn't planning to be that forceful.
Anyway, just to bring things out of the gutter.
It was his first time, yeah.
Oh dear.
If any listeners would like to write in and tell us about the first time they took it up.
I've got to love, we're not even gone to like the title sequence yet. We're already being offensive. It's great.
And there are only a handful of people in the world actually licensed to perform that barrel roll, so...
I wonder what you were going to say then.
Just try and bring things out of the gutter for a minute, you know. Oh dear. I also think it's highly unlikely that he managed to get it out of that.
So, oh God, Becca, this is all too entendres.
It's like watching a film my mum was like, oh, that will never happen. Well, of course not, it's a fucking film.
That looks fine. That's okay.
I always remember my dad, when Avatar came out, he was like, oh, it's ridiculous. They're all blue.
What's a film? No.
Well, all right.
What's the point of it?
Bad time.
It looks smug. Look at that smug face.
Well, he's pleased himself. He's just survived.
Imagine already having a wank right now.
He's pleased himself. He's just got a ring.
Yeah.
So
he's like, oh, free jewellery.
I'll take that. Thank you.
Waste not.
If I look at this long enough, I wonder if I can see myself without a shirt.
Well, you never know. It just might happen.
I don't mean me, listeners. Don't panic.
Oh God.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Now we have the amazing shirtless Daniel. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a little bit in love with this sequence, not because of shirtless Daniel, but mainly because of shirtless Daniel.
I'm kind of like about it. I like Kleiman's work on it, but I don't know. It just feels a little bit kind of ugh.
I think that's the thing. It reminds me a bit of like Alien or something, because all the octopus look like they're all they're drenched in KY jelly or something. It's all a bit
yeah.
I like this motif. This is very interesting.
I always think of Quantum of Solace though.
No.
When this, when they're free falling out from the plane and like he's like got a parachute.
I prefer this to Quantum.
Spoiler, man.
Spoiler alert. Yeah, this bit I didn't like. It's a little bit like
what
hentai porn.
Well, see, watching this in mute, I'm just thinking of a Girl with Dragon Tattoo.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It is pretty much. That was good. That was really good. Bit of hentai porn.
Yes, yeah. I think it's just a bit icky.
Yeah, very icky. It's a little bit.
I think that's
He's whispering her in ear. No, that's a tentacle, honest.
Well, here you go. So you got Silver.
Oh, this really pissed Chris off when Tench's face showed up.
Well, yeah, but Silver's like, oh, for God's sake, we really have
It's because it's all connected.
It's all connected.
And I want a reminder of a girl he had real chemistry with who was really good in a better film.
Strangely enough, Dominic Green isn't amongst the villains lineup.
That's because he was shot.
Why is Emma involved? Why is like the show like, oh, remember Judi Dench?
Because she's in the film, Chris.
She
sets off the whole plot of the film.
Yeah, but in the title sequences, you need to.
Okay.
This is a bit creepy.
It just looks a bit
Nightmare
odd.
Fuel.
It's just giving me a hankering to watch some Masters of the Universe, to be honest with you.
You know
Skeletor.
what? I actually really enjoy it. A Massive Universe.
Dolph. Good old Dolph.
You can hear me review that on an earlier episode of Pick a Flick.
Did you
That and Zod.
did you go to town on it? Did you like practically hate it? Oh yeah, you did, didn't you? I think I remember listening to it now.
Yeah, the big old rant.
Well, I don't know if it was a rant, but I mean, I had that and Zardos, and I'm thinking,
Oh God.
And then a couple of days later, he's on there going, our Star Wars episode got record number of listeners. I'm thinking, I'm not surprised it got more than Zardos in Masters of the Universe. I was quite happy to
This is my favourite bit of this title sequence.
What, when you see a scene from the film?
This bit here. This is
what, the tentacles coming out from his
that was
back?
my number one moment in this. Apart from Shirtless Daniel, and obviously you got the 9 eyes, which is a bit creepy. But yeah, that bit was my favourite scene in the title sequence. And kind of McDougal makes his second appearance. He gets in there twice during the title sequence. That's creepy. I don't like that. Ooh.
Do you think he should just at the end he should just put his shirt back on because it's finished? You just see him buttoning a shirt.
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk about Sam Smith's song, and I don't actually mind the song now. It's just his annoying wailing voice. Like, just
the high pitched parts do kind of take you out of it.
Doesn't bother me at all. Once you've heard Sheryl Crow, everything's fucking brilliant.
Oh.
Do you reckon Em ever reads those books?
No.
Well, he's got the chair sat there. So.
Look at that office. That's amazing.
Yeah, but that's for when Freddie Gray comes in for a cup of tea.
Oh, pretty great.
Yeah. Still
stop in the intelligence community.
Yes,
mainly because I sit drinking tea all day.
Still the Secretary of Defence, even though it's like
fucking 20 years. Can I please get a reshuffle?
Oh dear. What if he'll still be Secretary of Defence under, I don't know, in a Labour government?
It's probably one of the things. Like, it's like, yeah, he's not really. We just tell him that he is, and he just sits there and just moans.
Yeah,
he's retired. We let him come in, have a sit down.
All things just not very well.
We just find it a lot easier just to let him have his little fantasy.
Yeah. Bless him.
No pocket money.
No pocket money, no holidays. Rubbish. He takes it all just on his stride, and he's like, "Very good, sir. Yeah, that's fine." Sean Connery wouldn't stand for this.
Yeah, well, he plays it different. I think he has the same kind of attitude, but he plays it kind of like in a kind of. He's not liking it, but he's like, "Yeah, whatever." Fuck
yeah.
you.
Oh god, here we go.
Still one door, you bastards.
I was impressed he managed to fit in a cunt joke in this. I must admit.
Yeah, that, ladies and gentlemen, is a cunt joke.
That's what the C stands for. In other words, it's Moriarty from Sherlock. How about that?
Yeah.
Miscast.
Lazy casting.
It's a bit like that spell we went through with Mark Strong, always playing the fucking villain in things.
Yeah.
Really lazy.
Except Mark Strong's a really versatile actor as well. He can play.
No, he can. He can, but there was a period
really
of time
good.
where he was just cast in everything as the villain.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, I don't mind. To be honest, I think Mark Strong's probably better at playing bad guys anyway. I'm not knocking.
No, I don't
Scott.
think in any individual circumstance it was miscasting. It was just there was a lot of it. That's all.
Mm.
He sort of played the same role over again for a while, didn't he? So.
Yeah, they do an awful lot of work just for 007. I mean, forensics and everything else have gone through. I don't know what they needed forensics there for. We know what happened.
That's quite a nice flat, yeah.
But also, they fix up his, they fix up his car for him and everything.
So how many times have we seen his house now? Is it obviously
Twice.
Yeah, Doctor No, and then
This one.
Live and Let Die, and then
Oh
this
no,
one.
Live and
So,
Let Die. Sorry, yeah,
3?
3. Yeah.
Yeah, third time we've seen his home.
Sorry, I forgot Live and Let Die for a moment. Despite the 8-minute.
By the orange kitchen.
Yeah.
It's a complicated coffee machine.
I mean, to be honest, to get a thimble full of coffee, after 8 minutes, I just
Is that all it does?
got past it by then.
Gotta love his taste in art, haven't you?
He doesn't decorate much, I don't think.
Well, he's never there, is he?
No, he's hardly ever at home, so what's the point?
What I don't understand is in the bit coming up, he plays like a video, doesn't he? She was really vague.
She was, quite vague. Speaking in general terms.
What, assassinate this guy? Yeah.
Then watch his funeral.
Yeah, don't miss the funeral. Marco Sciarra.
Yeah, it just felt like everyone's just a little bit like, hey, yay, Judi Dench, yay. It's like, don't be wrong, you know, I love Judi Dench, but, you know, let it go. You know, a term has passed, so to speak. I don't think...
It's not really fair on Ray Fiennes either, to be honest.
Yeah. Don't think the film gives him much of a chance to be a good M as well. Rafe. Apart from that one good scene we just had where he chewed out Bond, but...
No, I'm really hoping he comes back in the next one. I'm just really pleased that he's joined the franchise at last.
You just imagine you've had take his ring, and what would happen after that? And then Sam Mendes on sets goes, chew him out, and again open mouth going, no, that's not what I meant.
I'm covering the seedier side of Bond since 2015.
In the car chase, he's going to be telling them to ram him up the rear.
Sean Bean already did that in GoldenEye, didn't he? It was like, ram him!
Yeah, some Italian up the rear.
No wonder he doesn't want to, like...
Oh, yeah, there's that thing from Skyfall that no one gave a shit about. The Bulldog.
Yeah, it wasn't... Yeah, I don't understand the significance. Well, I do get it, but... This is quite interesting there, a bit of history for us hardened Bond fans.
Does it ever burn exactly like that?
Maybe.
They do in your art department.
Yeah, they do. They do in the props department, don't you know? Oh, look, his face is conveniently obscured.
I would like it when we saw him if he had no head and just a very charred neck.
Oh. Crispy.
I'm just upset his dressing gown isn't blue terry toweling.
Shocking.
So he could dry himself whilst looking fashionable.
Oh, God. Good old Tanner. He doesn't get much to do this time around. Well, again.
Yeah.
Well, things that Tanner's one of them characters you can just sort of pull out whenever you need him. Really, yeah. You don't have to be in it. So if you can just have like a small part where he just goes like, "Oh, hey Bond, yeah, I'll fill you a bit of a exposition," and you know. And there you are.
He's a bit Basil, isn't he? Basil exposition.
So I don't see an issue, but again, it's with the whole like Bond and Co thing. It's like everyone has to have like a thing they do. You know. It's
like box ticking exercises.
Yeah.
They look stylish whilst they're doing it, though.
Well, in a way, it kind of like hints to the end, doesn't it? On the boat.
Yeah, when he runs off with Tanner. We have all the time in the world, Bill.
Oh.
Didn't you say that Tanner was originally going to be the bad guy?
He was going to be a mole.
That'd be interesting. That'd be a good twist, wouldn't it?
I'm not sure whether Daniel Craig would have spotted him and gone, mole. Molly.
Chop it up, make some guacamole.
Mole! There's a bloody mole wicking me in the face!
He starts poking it with a stick.
I wanna cut it off and chop it up and make it as a guacamole!
We've got to do these films, oh my god, that's going to be hilarious.
There's not enough to say about them, Becca.
Yeah, I think we could do like one episode or three, really, because we just repeat ourselves all the time.
We've got to do them, though. Be good luck.
But yeah, I'm not sure. I would have liked it if gone for Tanner as a bad guy. Just like, really? But then, like, Dave mentioned, I think, on the original review, was M was going to end up being a bad guy.
There was a take in that,
yeah. That would have been very strange.
That kind of would have probably pissed me off even more, because, like, you finally get Ralph Fiennes who's actually a good M, and all of a sudden it's like, no, he's a bad guy, fuck you. Oh, fuck.
The thing as well here is, they keep forgetting the previous fucking films. It's like, we've come up with this contraption where we can trace where you are. Well, what was that fucking thing put in his arm in Casino Royale then?
Yeah, he's had that already. But this is different. This is Smart Blood, apparently.
Oh, it's bollocks.
Different. Screw that. So.
It's just, I think they've kind of like, remember that. You forget about Casino Royale, even though we're going to refer to it with Vesper, but you kind of forgot about that
conveniently
entirely. Yeah, so we just remind you that he's bugged.
Retconning.
No, because Blofeld had a scheme whereby Le Chiffre was going to blow up a plane But he knew Bond was going to go in and sabotage it at the last minute. So Le Chiffre had to set up a thing at Casino Royale, and Bond would definitely be assigned to it. And Vesper would be definitely assigned to him. And Mathis would definitely be assigned to the pair of them.
Here's Craig's pose as Bond. One hand in the pocket, strutting and stuff.
Do anything? I do all the time. I love this Q scene. It's great. Bond's...
He's really good in the role. I think he's.
I love their relationship as well. It's completely, flipped on its head compared to like when Desmond Llewellyn did the role. I mean, he'll be the ultimate
Bond having Q gadgets. Going, good luck.
But this is it. Yes.
A, why is that Q's job to rebuild that on government money? And B, how does he build a full working Aston Martin out of that?
He's Q, he can do anything.
But during the events of this film, he's too busy examining fingerprints on a shiny surface.
He's a busy boy.
Yeah, you might as well just give him like a brand new car. It's like, what's the point? It was like a vintage car. Or just remake it completely.
Or they can rent him one as a public. They probably public sector value for money. They've probably got a deal with like Enterprise or something. So you see him drive in a Vectra or whatever at the end.
Mondeo.
Or if they're gonna like sort of still keep in touch with Casino Royale, why don't you just jinx up that Aston Martin he won at the car game before?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We never know whether he brought that home. To be honest with you, he may just have driven it around there and then sold it or given it back or whatever.
Who knows?
What? We'll give it back to a dead person.
Yeah.
There you are. Enjoy. Throw the keys at the corpse.
Both of them were dead, weren't they? So Pierce Brosnan was on the first plane.
Oh.
Fucking hell, an Aston Martin and 2 corpses. I'm on my way.
He's lucky.
Oh, God.
Oh, this is a bit pointless, I think. We hardly ever see her use it. What's going on there? Bob?
He does ring her in the middle of the night where she's...
she's with her other half.
Handy bought her a phone as a present then, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
Because anal beads would have been fucking useless in that scenario.
Is it a Sony phone by any chance?
I suspect so.
Probably. Well, do you think, if Daniel Craig does stay on, do you think him and Moneypenny, this version of Moneypenny, will get together?
No.
If they do, I'll be pissed off. If they do.
Everything's possible.
No, that should never, ever, ever happen.
Could you start to throw it out there?
No, it just completely ruins their relationship.
No, it would, wouldn't it? It would overstep the mark. What's that?
Defines the whole point of it.
That's quite a sexy looking car.
You think they'd come up with something a little bit more better looking than just a few wires and a few switches?
Well, it's a prototype, isn't it? So.
Yeah, I'm sure the real one will look super.
There'll be laminated labels rather than just,
Laminated? But what if you change your mind? It's too late then.
Oh dear, then you're screwed.
I want this one to be Frank Sinatra.
Why you get like a black marker pen and you just write...
Right, which one do you want? Who was it pointed out that they're wearing the same brand of sunglasses as well?
Yeah, well, Woolworths went bust.
Oh. VHS 2. Oh.
He does look good in a parka coat, though, doesn't he?
He does.
He looks good in every scene in this film, to be honest with you. They dress him very, very well.
That's his job to look good, you know?
That was Pierce Brosnan's job. That's all Pierce Brosnan did.
They all look good. Well,
but good. Narrow his eyes.
Toweling.
Do you think if Dalton was a little bit more of a clothes horse, think he would have fared a little bit better?
No, because he followed Roger Moore. It was the wrong time.
Yeah, he was ahead of his time. Is what I'm trying to say. I think that's why Craig's so successful now, because it's kind of what we need now.
Yeah, but the other thing as well is they weren't. I mean, if you think about the Living Daylights title sequence, it's really cheap bargain basement shite. It's one of the worst ones, and so it looks like a continuation from the Roger Moore era, with all the humour taken out. Whereas this was a complete reboot. It drew quite a lot of interest just because it was such a rethinking of what they wanted to do.
Sure.
Same with Brosnan to a degree. It felt like a completely fresh start when he started.
Some people still complain that it's kind of more of a rehash, sort of mixer between Sean Connery and Roger Moore, but each to their own.
Well, I don't think his era turned out to be that good.
No.
But and even he thinks he was a rehash of those two.
Well, exactly.
But we're talking about I'm talking about when it started, not when it ended. I mean, he started well enough. I may not be the biggest Goldeneye fan, but it felt really fresh and new and welcome at the time.
Sure.
It was promising for what was to come, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
It really was, yeah.
But now I look back on it quite often that their first films are amongst their best entries, generally speaking. I mean, I certainly think you could argue it about Brosnan. You could certainly say it for Craig. You could argue it for Dalton, although I prefer the second one. But and Roger Moore, I think Live and Let Die is in with the shout of being called the best of his.
It's only really Connery, really, but then Dr. No is a classic.
Oh, I love Dr. No.
Yeah. It's very underrated, I find.
Not by me, I love it.
Well, no, but sort of in terms, people tend to overlook it in terms of when you get to like Goldfinger and things like that. So.
It was the first one, so they had a lot of sort of building on it to do, but...
Certainly.
Do you know what? If I wanted to romance Monica Bellucci, I'd smash me some champagne glasses and pin her against a mirror. I think that's the way to... That's the way to moisten a lady.
Just after, saving her life from...
Well, to be honest, he probably had her at hello. But,
It's a well-done scene, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Though, how Bond got there is a little bit... Okay.
Without them hearing him.
Thankfully, he had the shooting script, and they probably had locations for the day. And it's a night shoot as well. They said, we'll meet there.
It's a shame they never got Felix back. Would have been nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was just like a little cameo over like a little phone call. He's in his office. And he's like...
Yeah, just the reaction of him picking up the phone and going, Monica Bellucci,
hello?
I'm on my
way. I'll be there tomorrow.
Sloppy seconds, here I come.
Oh.
I'm sure Daniel bagged it up and took it away with him.
That was a lame slap. Let's be honest.
It was.
Yeah. If that was Brosnan though, his head would have shot to the side with all his neck muscles and ligaments straining.
and he would have he would have done that thing with your tongue where you sort of push it against your cheek as in ow, that hurts.
Wincing, pain face.
Without the sound, this looks really uncomfortable.
It does feel a bit awkward, doesn't it?
It looks a little bit kind of
oh, creepy.
No one really wants to be there.
I like his delivery of that line though, because it's just you. Oh.
To be honest, if you're going to leave straight after, why give her your name?
He doesn't have a calling card. That's his name,
Because he has to say it at some point in the film, so...
Contractual
mention
obligation.
They both look like they really don't want to be there. They really do feel like, oh, this is just kind of no.
Am I being really stupid here, right? She's saying, oh yeah, they meet all the time. You know, he's hardly ever at home, basically. And then she's saying, these people, they hardly ever meet. And it's like, what? Make your mind up. Yeah, it's... But forgive me if I'm being silly.
It is kind of gross watching two people kiss.
Is it?
Really?
You'd prefer they got right down to it, would you, Chris?
No, it's just an observation in terms of
that
like
particular kiss was, to be fair.
What that particular
they were kind
kiss,
of,
to be fair, was an actual kiss.
No, they were kind of eating each other's faces. It was
yeah. No, but I think generally when you see like two people proper like tonguing it out, it's a little bit. Oh, for God's sake, do I have to see this?
See, we've missed the cameo where he turns up, Felix, with his lad in his hand, ready to go. And I would love if it cuts in the car now, and that car wasn't changing direction at all, because he's just had sex, so he's asleep.
No, just like as Bond leaves, like
oh look, it's Vernon Palace.
Strolls in, smoking a cigar.
Or when he goes in and he sort of joins the crowd, he just goes, "Oh, smell my fingers."
Anyway, isn't it interesting how the Palazzo Carezza looks a lot like Vernon Palace?
Is that where it was?
Yep.
Is it a similar place to Rodation? So it does look
it's the same. Yeah, same place.
Oh, well, that'd be why then.
2015 was the year of the spy movies, wasn't it? Pretty much, because you had obviously this, which is possible.
Spy.
Yeah, Spy. Man from U.N.C.L.E. That scene was quite funny. Saw no Mickey Mouse.
I always think of Indiana Jones for that. I am Mickey Mouse.
Oh, he turns out pretending to be a professor looking to the tapestries. I've got to see the tapestries.
How dare he?
His awful Scottish accent. Now, who is this woman?
So,
well, not this woman who's speaking now, but there's a man. The woman who shall speak in a moment. That man there, that's not the same man who was in Casino. I'm telling you now.
He is, or he isn't?
No, he's not.
No, he isn't.
Alright. Well, which guy who was in Casino?
The Asian guy who was in front of him looked a bit like one of the poker players.
Oh, okay.
And sort of fandom was like, it's the same person. It's like, no, it's not.
So, what do we think of this new incarnation of Spectre?
We haven't really got much to go on, have we?
It just seems a little bit too, like, spooky. They've gone for, like, this whole, like, they're all in sync. It's like they're all hypnotised, you know, in a kind of like, weird way. And it's just a little bit, like, unbelievable to some extent. It's just...
Major spoiler alert coming.
I don't really get what exactly is going on here.
Spoiler alert coming soon.
Is there?
Yep. Well, yeah. If you're hard of hearing, or for some reason if you're watching this, like like we are with the credits, look, it gives away his name. The subtitles give away his name.
Oh, does it? Oh, right.
I've got the subtitles. No. Yeah, but if you're hard of hearing, or if you watch with the subtitles on, it gives away who he is. So ridiculous.
Yeah, but let's face it. Like, I think you have to be like deaf to.
So it's the world's worst movie. Worst kept movie secret.
No, apart from Darkness, which was even worse.
Oh yeah, no, that was really bad. So do you reckon this person? I think Vogel is her name. She's meant to be kind of like Emma Bunt character. I think she's lined up to be the next Emma Bunt, maybe. No.
I don't think we'll even see her again if there is a new Bond film down the road. No.
I think it'd be interesting though. But no, I sadly don't think we'll see her again either.
So this whole thing I just don't quite understand. Like,
it's too long.
It's too drawn out. This guy's like obviously like was clearly seems to be like in charge, and then he said, "Oh, right, well, I'll sort it out." Does anyone object? And this guy just walks in, kills him,
and sits down.
Yeah, and it's just...
You could have done all that already. This scene has run long enough that you could have done everything this scene needed. Still have plenty of atmosphere in it and have it done. It's too long.
You could chop this scene out.
It's beautiful, though. It's a really good-looking set. And...
Looks good.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, it's not even done like... You're thinking, oh, it's in the dark, but you're thinking, that's Christoph Waltz, that. That's Christoph Waltz. It's plain you see it's Christoph Waltz. Might as well just...
This scene you could have done away with as well.
Well, I mean, I don't know if they're... I don't see the point of the silhouette. Is it to slow down the real reveal for the audience? Or is it that they're not supposed to be able to see who he is because of the way it's lit? And if so, someone like Thunderball made way more sense, where he was actually hidden behind a partial screen.
Behind a screen, yeah.
So, well...
Just saw his cat. It's really the cat.
I would love to see this guy again, though.
I hope he comes back,
I would, yeah.
Well, it's just disappointing. It's like...
But it's not him, is it? The attributes and the little sort of, steel sort of fingernails or thumbnails, rather, and everything about him, and the fact he looks immaculate, he could have been an iconic henchman. And the way he attacks Bond on the train as well, where he's straight in, no pause, no anything, I really kind of like.
See, he is kind of that imposing threat. It's like, how can Bond... I always thought they could have done with a little bit of a break sound effect there. It just sounds...
Certainly.
But it's probably for a rating thing, but when you break someone's neck on screen, it always sounds very weak and flimsy when you don't have that.
I think that they have to get the 12A rating, don't they, nowadays? So which is the 12 rating. So
yeah. But I'm not sure that will push it over that. I think we would have got away with it. I don't know. But that guy next to Daniel Craig does look like Chris Rock.
He does, doesn't he? I thought that. I was like, what's he doing this from?
And Steve Merchant sat next to Blofeld there.
Oh yeah. People you didn't know were in a Bond film.
Let's play film looky likey.
He should be like his character in Extras. He should be jerking off whilst looking at a nudie lady pen.
Finally, here we are.
This scene is way too long.
Look at his face.
And the whole cuckoo thing is just a bit crap, really.
Got a book in front of me.
Oof.
Jesus.
You alright, Becca? You searching for something?
Sorry, yes. I've got a fact coming up later on in the film.
A fun fact?
Fun fact. Well, not really fun fact, but just relating to Bond's childhood. I've got to find the right page.
The right page? You just know it. I didn't realise you were consulting stuff.
Consulting a text whilst we speak. Right. I'll find it. This car chase has so much potential, but I'm really sorry, but it's quite disappointing. It's exciting while it lasts, but it just had so much going for it, and it just ends far too quickly for me.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's kind
Make of that what you will. Make
Thanks for that nice panoramic view there.
Lovely view. It's a big car advert, but...
Yeah, I don't know. I think, it is a little bit kind of disappointing.
I mean, it's not loaded.
Yeah.
You've got to be good at me. It's exciting. While it's going on, it's a thrilling chase, but it just ends with a rather than a bang.
The only thing that undermines it for me is how calmly he's talking to Moneypenny. And I know he's meant to be an agent, and he's meant to have control of his emotions and everything, but it does undercut and undermine any feeling of peril when he's just chatting away.
Yeah, a casual phone call.
Yeah, look up this guy. I think it's so and so. What are you up to anyway? Oh, you've been shagging. Cool. You know.
Yeah.
In reality, he would have no time to ask her what she's up to.
Or if it was me, I'd only have time to ask her that. Have you been shagging? Oh, sorry, out of time. Bye.
Sorry, my credit's running out.
Oh, sorry. Well, yeah, I'll let you
This guy's quite funny.
finish up.
Mamma mia. Right.
Not stereotypical at all, is it? Really?
No, driving his Fiat. Right, where is it?
But in reality, that guy would end up being seriously hurt.
Yeah, he'd probably die. But he makes it just in time, so it's alright.
The stopping speed there was quite impressive, considering he was doing
it was.
miles an hour till about 15 feet before.
It's probably an advert for Fiat just as much as it is Aston Martin.
We go to Moneypenny's bedroom, we hear vibration.
This is the first time we actually see Moneypenny actually shag someone else.
Well, we didn't, did
Well,
we?
we don't know. We just assume.
Well, they're sharing a bed, you know.
God almighty, you must have been scandalised by Morecambe and Wise.
Bert and Ernie.
Yeah, well, we know they're fucking.
I always thought Bert took up the arse. That's why he was Bert the tall black-haired one.
I always thought Bert took it up the arse. Really? Even by my standards, that's the least PC way to ever word anything. And not only that, it's the I always thought. All through childhood, but he takes it up the arse.
His childhood was so corrupt.
Made by the Children's Television Workshop, but he takes it up the arse. Today's number is 69.
Oh dear. What I was going to say. Yeah. Which one was Bert?
Was it the cock up his arse? Apparently.
Oh dear.
Oh.
Oh dear.
Should we? We're getting far away from the film
big
now.
Bird. He got nowhere.
It's good. It's a good job it's late at night because otherwise, there'd be tons of people getting run over and shit.
Yeah, well, Rome's never that busy.
It's not. I don't know.
I've only been to Rome once. I was about 13 and I was stuck in a traffic jam on a Sunday. That speaks for itself, I think. It's really busy. Just generally.
Was it
even at the,
for Sunday? For Sunday?
Actually, it looks packed there. Look at that. Look at all the traffic.
That's went probably a couple of years ago now, but we didn't drive. We went on it was a touring holiday, like coach holiday. But it was beautiful. But I couldn't tell anything about the roads. That's quite. I don't like that scene very much. This is quite cool though. I like these stunts. Okay, cue. That's quite cool. Yeah. That's quite a cool gadget.
Is it?
Very hot. Depending on how you look at it.
I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, Q's on fire there.
But really. Yeah, I think that's the most exciting of the lot. So it's a shame.
Yeah. It's got
Yes, yeah. Ciao. Yeah, good to see it. Makes a welcome return.
By the way, listeners, if you do just listen to our film reviews, because a lot of you don't listen to our commentaries without the film, but you might listen to this on the basis that it's a review sort of hybrid. I would say do listen to our last music episode. We're really very proud of it.
It's a brilliant episode. I'm quite pleased with it.
Yeah, I do think I honestly think it's the best thing we've done.
Really?
I do. Thanks to Charlie Brigden and all that. We've done far funnier episodes, but we really, really do delve into the music and, You know, it's just a very, very interesting episode. It's certainly the best of the music episodes we've done.
Definitely.
I always wondered, do I always get like a picture of a young Christoph Waltz, or do they kind of like digitally enhance it to make him look younger?
I think that might be a picture of a young Christoph Waltz.
Yeah.
9 eyes. That's 4 people and Snake Plissken.
Oh dear.
So, things though with Andrew Scott, can you really sort of picture him in charge of anything?
No, that's why I think it's miscasting. He's not a leader.
And it's also why, well, one of the reasons why he's miscast as Moriarty.
I think it's off the back of off the back of Moriarty. But I like him though. He's kind of.
I don't think I slagged him off in the review, and Chris said, "Oh, it might just be miscasting or what he's given to do." I can't exactly remember what Chris said now, but the gist of what he's saying was correct. I was wrong to slate the actor. Might be a very, very good actor. I think he's wrong for this. He's too obviously creepy. He's too young, and he doesn't. It's a bit like Chris Pine playing Kirk. He doesn't scream leader to me.
Okay, I think actually I don't have a problem with Pine as Kirk.
We'll talk about it in a few weeks' time.
But yeah,
We shall.
It's not. I don't have blind hatred for him, by the way. I think he's okay,
Yeah.
but there are ways the film have to work around his limitations. But I'll talk about it when we get there.
yeah.
I've got a feeling Mr. Brigden might not be overly kind to him.
What, to Andrew Scott?
To Chris Pine.
Oh, okay.
But we shall see.
What's your take on Zachary Quinto?
Quite like him. Quite like him. Nobody does Vulcan like Leonard Nimoy, because I think I said this in an earlier episode when we just sort of got onto. We were talking about flat acting just generally, and I said that the problem with a lot of people playing Vulcan, and it's very, very noticeable in Enterprise with Jolene Blalock, that they basically think that emotionless means no expression in your voice whatsoever. That's not what Leonard Nimoy did. And there was kind of a little bit of humour under the surface as well. Mm. But I do think Zachary Quinto plays it... He plays it with this slight rage under the surface, which I quite like. I don't like him as much as Leonard Nimoy, but Leonard Nimoy's got that really deep, commanding voice, or had. But he's good. He's one of the better in the cast.
And there's a little preview to our track
upcoming
series.
track series. Yeah.
Mm.
I'm gonna have to pick up the Blu-rays for that.
Well, yeah, because we've got to do some commentaries. So
I've just been got all the DVDs from the charity shop. So what?
Well, you'll be watching them faster than us, then, Becca. And that. Oh my God, he's dead. Who is what?
Ooh.
Yeah, we I think the general idea is we'll do a couple of commentaries on the original crew.
Which commentaries do you think we'll do?
I think we'll do Wrath of Khan.
So they'll see. There is like a director's cut now, isn't there?
We'll do the original version because that's what everybody will have. Because the director's cut's only just coming out.
Be interesting to watch it.
I do want to see it, but there's only about 8 minutes more, but it would throw us off. So we're only good.
Well, only 8 minutes. Not going to be as much, is it?
Makes it difficult to all commentate in sync, though.
Yeah.
I've got the Blu-ray, the original Blu-ray version that came out about 2009, just before the reboot. I'd like to do Wrath of Khan. I'm totally open to suggestions on the second original crew film we do. And then I think what we said was one of the Next Generation films and one of the reboot films.
I think they'll have to be Into Darkness for the reboot one. But actually no, I'm kind of no. I think either really both.
I don't think we'll commit to that now, but there'll be one of them. I'm not even sure with which Next Generation film, because the obvious knee jerk is First Contact. So I might even be tempted to say Generations, but we can talk about that offline. But the Wrath of Khan's a definite, and I don't know which the other one would be.
Nemesis, could you even say Nemesis, couldn't you, really?
Yeah, you could. You're always trying to balance admiring the good of the series and ridiculing the bad. So, I mean, I want to do Wrath of Khan because that's my Majesty's for that series.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't really want to do four films that I think all of them are really good. You know, so we've got to mix it up a little bit. Into Darkness might be funny just because it's so fucking dumb.
But anyway, here's the return of Mr. White.
Again, leaning on real-world events, you think of... What was his name, the Russian that was poisoned with polonium?
Oh, yes.
He's been poisoned here. He's basically been given some sort of radioactive... He's basically had the similar sort of thing happen. And he's dying slowly.
Yeah, his time's not inside.
Because he's like blind now, or kind of...
Something's not right with his eyes. He looks like he can see.
Is he wearing contacts or something?
He's very bloodshot, and his eyes are very dilated. That probably is contacts, Becca. You're right.
Yeah. Just to give him that look, that appearance.
I'm glad they at least did something with him. I mean, I do think Chris is right. They've sort of abandoned Quantum of Solace in some respects, but at least they tried. You know, for all the problems I've got with this film. Yes, you've chosen to hamstring yourself by putting Spectre in and all the rest of it. But I can see why you did.
Didn't he put Skyfall in there, though?
Yeah.
No, I agree. Silver, nah, I just cannot see Silver as like a Spectre agent.
No. It's too much of a kind of, I don't know, like 006 kind of clone. Well, not a clone, but he's from that ilk.
But just in terms of the plot, it's just like, well, how does this even tie in? Well, you know.
Retcon.
Yeah.
Well, and it's...
But you know, this I think this character had like so much like more potential to be.
What I liked about Mr. White, we talked about it on the Casino Royale review, is that like he's always there. When Vesper dies, camera reverses and looks up at him, and he's not there.
Yeah, he's not far
anymore.
behind.
Yeah.
And I think it's just how he is when he's captured, how he is when he's at the opera, and he's smart enough not to sort of stand up, and he's like, well, you know, trust is not for everyone. And he's just had such a nice little, he's going to be a good villain. He's, you know. But
he was always in the shadows, and I liked that. And he was calm as well. I mean, he's been shot in the leg at the start of Quantum, dragged into a room that he's presumably never seen before, put on a drip. And he's
interrogated, and he's like kind of laughing.
And he's not. He plays it so well because he doesn't play it completely cool and calm. I wouldn't say he's unaffected. He's hurt, but he's still got his wits about him. I really, really liked his way of playing this role.
It's the way he just sort of chuckles to himself, like, you know, well, we're worried, like, they're always on the back of the truth for this. You don't even know we exist. You know, this kind of like really kind of. Just astonishment and amazement in this, you know, kind of, yeah. I mean, you could argue that it's a different character, this, but obviously, you know.
But he's dying. To be fair, it's very difficult to link the two.
Yeah, because it's so much has happened since.
Yeah.
And we've missed that, and I'm kind of sad that we have.
Yeah. Like I say, I'll stand by what I said at the start of the film. I did overpraise it on release, but I can see why I gave a lot of this stuff a pass, because I just think the producers are in a tough position. Quantum of Solace didn't go down very well, really. They then decide to go in a slightly different direction. That's fine, and then they get the rights back to Spectre. And Barbara Broccoli has always been Daniel Craig's biggest fan, really, and you can see why they wanted to get it into this film. I think it was a mistake. But I can see why.
To quote Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park, just because you've
been spending too much time thinking about whether you could, and you didn't think about whether you should.
Whether you should, yeah.
It's not, unfortunately, and I said this as well, that when you look at the Connery era and Lazenby, they had this slow tease over a few films. I don't think they had it mapped out per se, but we kept getting teased Blofeld. And then we saw him, and what you think of that might vary. I wasn't the biggest fan. And then you had it in Majesties, and he kills his wife. And then they kind of fluffed the whole revenge thing in Diamonds, but it could well have been that. And then all of a sudden they stopped using Blofeld. So we never saw what the series would have done had they had to try to keep Blofeld active for 20 years. Mm. And would they? Would they have just killed Blofeld and that would have been the end of it? And Blofeld would have been, albeit recurrent, but he would have been, I don't know, Connery's bad guy. But unfortunately, he's now become like Bond's version of the Joker or Lex Luthor or something like that. And I don't know how you play that out over film after film after film. Because they're not going to want to kill him off, surely. Because you don't kill off your chief antagonist like that. Not when you fought so hard to get the rights back.
Yeah,
it'd be a waste.
But
it depends on how you did it. I mean, I think you could probably get away with it. The problem is that they got someone like Christoph Waltz in, and they're kind of like, oh, would you give him a contract? Could you do 3 films if Daniel Craig stays? Which is unlikely. And it would have been worked out a lot better if they got a younger actor and then got Christoph Waltz to play Blofeld, and then we had essentially your trilogy, or maybe had a couple of films before you did the 3 films with Christoph Waltz in, and then kill him off then, because it would have been a lot more satisfactory then.
Possibly. I mean, we've got one or two. There's one follower I can think of on Twitter who really didn't want Blofeld back at all because he said they've never done this miserable character any favours at all. They've never done him right. And I kind of see their point. We haven't had Blofeld since, well, not really, since 1971. You can argue about For Your Eyes Only, but even then it's only a cameo. And it's... You just think, well, hang on a minute, we're 44 years on at this point for a character that was only in the films for about 9 years, only really appeared facially in 3. Do you really bother? But unfortunately, Spectre's a big thing to this series.
And here we get the introducing the new Tracy, apparently.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
When they cast her, because I think she's really pretty, and I've seen her in a few other things and thought she was good as well, so I was kind of like, yeah, that is the sort of woman Bond would go for. But they really fucked this up. Not her character. Yeah, but not her character. The thing is, again, not just without borders, intelligent, bit of history to her, understands the assassin's life because of her father. They even make it quite plausible how they're thrown together. It's just the love story.
It's all just very, thrown at you rather than,
It's not earned.
Yeah.
I think despite that, I think they do have good chemistry, but I don't think she's not certainly the next Tracy.
In terms of, the casting, I think a few people said she's too young.
I don't agree. She was 30 when this was released. That's pretty standard. I mean, I know Daniel Craig was younger, but at the time. But I mean, Eva Green was 26 when they released Casino Royale. As long as they get, as long as the Bond actors get older, they at least try to go for women in their 30s. Then I'm fairly happy. I don't think they're seriously mismatched on. They are, because there's quite an age gap between them. But by the standards of these things, I don't think they're super mismatched. I just think the love story is so thrown at us a bit conveniently. Yeah. It reminds me a little bit of License to Kill, where they're on a boat for 2 minutes and suddenly they're all over each other. And
it's a bit quick, isn't it?
But at least then, that film doesn't really try to sell us that they're in love. And the overall effect is terrific. The love story is very central to this because it shapes what Bond decides to do next. And so it's a big deal that they fluffed it.
It's a big... It is because they get basically from one point where Bond saves her, but she hates him. and then she's kind of dragged to him unwittingly. They get drunk once. They get on the train. They survive a fight. They have sex. And then they take
and
it,
then as he's
and
being
they
tortured,
and then they take him to Blofeld. He gets tortured. She tells him, "I love you." And it's just, and by no stretch of the imagination, that is basically what happens.
we're not exaggerating, folks. You know,
Yeah, that is literally what happens, and there's like no scope for like, I mean, that the bit where she says, "Oh, I love you," like I could kind of buy like, I'm starting to like you, I'm starting to get fond of you, but love, it's just
too much too soon.
It's not even like it's not even like kind of like played for like, oh, there was something there instantly, but yet they're fighting. Oh, she's fighting against it, or they're fighting against it. Where it's like it takes them to have sex for them to really kind of unleash all this. So it does, none of it works.
Daniel, we're ready for you to unleash. No, we didn't mean that.
But
It's perfectly fine casting and
yeah.
perfectly fine. The concept of the character's fine. The execution of the character's all right. Just the love story's thrown together wrong.
Yeah.
It's not the most offensive thing I've ever seen in the Bond series. It's okay, but it's sold as really important, and really, you make it the central plank of why he decides to leave at the service at the end. And actually, if you'd made it almost like a secondary consideration, that I'm leaving and actually I'll take her with me, it might not have been such a problem that they didn't quite sell it. And I don't like his line here. When he orders the vodka martini and he ends up with the whatever shake it is, and he says, pour it down the toilet, cut out the middleman. I think that's a bit fucking vulgar, actually. That's coming from me.
It's a bit, it's like, the guy just works there.
Yeah, a bit harsh.
But it's fair, he didn't fucking order it either.
It's the sort of thing like my ex-father-in-law would have said. You know what I mean? Fucking like unreconstructed son reader who thinks everything he says is funny. It's just a bit boorish.
Yeah. I guess. I think that's might be part of this character because he's meant to be a bit of a food snob anyway. So
yeah, generally a snob, isn't he? Not that I'd imagine that Bond reads his son at all, but yeah, he's meant to be a snob generally, isn't he?
Yeah, but in terms of his food, he's very kind of like fine dining, kind of like.
Nice reference to Tom Purvisner there.
It's one of the few things where I just don't think a line was needed. I mean, even back in the Brosnan era, I could imagine Brosnan having a smell at it, or a look at it, or even a taste of it, and kind of pulling a face.
Yeah, kind of go, no thanks. And then,
you keep that, that sort of thing. But he remains brilliant at that. Close in, hand to hand. Daniel Craig on screen is terrific at it. And I remember this. That was one of the very first shots they showed on the first sort of little web series when they first started filming in Austria, where he took the gun and sort of turned and fired. And again, that economy of movement that's just his hallmark. I will always love Daniel Craig for that. There isn't another Bond that quite does close in combat like him.
Yeah. That's why seeing where else effective as well, isn't it? It's just
this bit is bollocks.
This had me thinking, how's this working? What's happening here?
Magic
Do all the rings have DNAs of all the members of Spectre? Like, what's going like?
And the thing is, I think, as we said in the original review, don't feel, listeners, any need to explain it to us, because I actually don't care. If the film hasn't been clear, then it's failed, even if there is a perfectly sensible explanation for it. I seem to remember really liking the music on this bit. I played it on the music episodes.
Yeah.
Really kind of percussive piece of music.
I think this is one of the best sequences in the film, I think.
Yeah, can you imagine if that was Roger Moore? The look he'd give. Remember the look he used to give in cars?
It would have been the nod.
It would have been the smile and the nod. That's kind of fairly close. That's worryingly close, actually.
Yeah, but I don't mind that.
No,
I
don't at all.
But I think that if it was anything, you've had your bad things to say about Roger, but if anything, we've all kind of agreed we all kind of like that. Those parts of
if I had to rank sort of best smiles of any Bond, Roger Moore would win. He's just got he does it a couple of times. There's the other smile he does, like he's caught shagging at the end of Moonraker, and the smile he does to the camera, like, yeah, you got me. It's brilliant.
Your cheese.
With a wink.
Could you have a more stereotypical looking henchman than that guy? Yeah, I remember the music is.
They are very striking, aren't they? They're very,
the design of this film's really great. I really like it. The only thing I wasn't that fond of was Q's workstation, because I like Q to. I think I said it at the time. I like Q to be at the centre of a hive of activity. I don't like him stuck away in some warehouse by himself.
No, he needs to be kind of in there, doesn't he, in the mix? So
I like For Your Eyes Only, where it's a massive hive of activity, and after 2 minutes they've all gone home and switched the light off.
But at least, he's getting involved as well. He's like, going out in the field.
I've got mixed feelings about that. I don't think this is overdone, but it's the worry I have is you got to give Ben Whishaw his bit, and then you got to give Ray Fiennes his bit, and then Moneypenny his bit, and I worry about that.
Moneypenny his bit?
Yeah, you got to give Moneypenny Ben Whishaw's bit. And then, no, but you know what I just think it's a bit worrying as you go on, particularly as they start doing more films and maybe wanting more money and more of a part. It does become It becomes more about the team than just Bond.
To be fair, that whole bit with Q in the ski lift thing was a bit pointless.
Yeah,
you could have had him just like
back at the hotel.
Right, I found And
it's a hangover from an early version of the script, because in an earlier version he was actually kidnapped there. And I think there are versions where Bond saved him from being kidnapped. Basically, what happened to Q was a bigger deal in the original version, and they've ended up leaving the remnants of the scene there, and there was actually no need. But actually, you talk about the actions. I like all of this. I like the look of it. I like Craig in all of this. I'm really... At this point, if the film stops, I've got very, very few complaints at all.
Well, I said like the first half is pretty much okay, isn't it? It's pretty much like what you want, really. Mm. But I like how the balls and stuff like Bond just using a plane just to chase a car, and just using it. It's like broken down and everything.
Yeah, he grabs what's there and does what he can with it. But yeah, I liked all this. But even this had it. I don't doubt that there are people who genuinely don't like this film, and maybe with good reason. And I know Charlie, who's joining us soon, really, really hated it. But I do feel with some people, they won't give the film any credit because they didn't like it. So even relatively good scenes, they'll go, "Oh no, I hated that bit." And
I feel that happens a lot with a lot of things. I think almost like it shows a weakness if you say you like any part of it. And conversely, the same is true with films you like. It's like License to Kill. I've heard people try to defend, wait, there are too many people. No, they fucked that scene up. It doesn't make the film bad. Yeah, it's just a strange thing, isn't it? It's just opinions. Just like, can't like... I think with things like License to Kill, there's a strong urge to defend it as well. Because
it's had a hard time and seen as... Yeah. And it damaged the series, etc., quote unquote.
Yeah.
I get the point, but it's just everyone talks in such absolutes now. And Spectre either had to be the best Bond film or it was one of the worst. And I genuinely still stick with, it's pretty good. It's flawed. It's got a lot of problems, but there are some really good bits in it.
I think that's a problem with a lot of people's opinions, because I think it goes into criticism as well. It's like everything's either right or it's wrong, or it's this and it's that. I can even trace it. I can even sort of comment on that in terms of like where people stand politically. so I'm not going to go into politics on the here now. But it is relevant to people's opinion. People like to have like yes or no answers. Like to have like,
and we're getting less tolerant of other people's opinions.
There's no leeway of like well
it's a grey area.
Yeah, well, there's so much of this is right, but only this bit is wrong, or so much of this bit is wrong. But it's you find life's pretty grey. It's not black and white. Like a lot of people like to deal with things in black and white because it's easier. But reality is it's grey.
So here we go.
All different shades.
He's found that they're all linked, which is really handy.
One ring to rule them all.
And they've still got the picture of Oberhauser when he was about 16.
Yeah,
he was running it as an after-school club.
Then he's got to start somewhere.
He started pretty high, didn't he? That's a bit like, Tory MPs before they become MPs. They leave Oxford and immediately become creative director at.
It's quite a lot of innovation just from a piece of jewellery.
It is.
It's really.
You got to suspend your disbelief, really, haven't you? I think,
so Cape Town again. We
it's lazy writing. Really.
This is really. Yeah. I don't know if not everyone.
It's shorthand.
Question, but basically, we've just seen Cape Town has had terrorism, and strangely enough, they were the only country not to vote for Nine Eyes.
No, that's why. Yeah, they refused to vote to join the Nine Eyes, and that's why.
Spectre's doing.
Mm.
That's their terrorism.
Tangier. We'll see Dalton go past on a magic carpet behind him.
It looks a bit like Dalton in this movie, in the scene.
This does
they're just quite similar.
This does evoke License to Kill for me.
It does,
actually,
very much so.
Sorry, let's try that again.
The Living Daylights.
Yeah, they're just quite similarly.
Both look great though.
Very stylish. I like her dress in this film. I just like all the outfits.
Her dress is kind of classical here, isn't it? It's a little bit old-fashioned, actually. Not
it's
a bad.
It's very simple.
Do any of you wonder where the luggage is?
Yeah, they don't have very much,
they do have a mobile wardrobe that goes with them. There's a deleted scene in a minute where he sits and knits himself a tie for later.
Knits himself a tie.
like where did he get his tux from in the train scene? That's why.
Yeah, he probably turned up at the carriage in jeans or like that those sets of dungarees that he wore in Never Say Never Again. And they said no, it's jacket, it's black tie, I'm afraid, and they had to lend him a tux.
They probably got a shop in the train.
Yeah.
They've got a suit shoot.
I don't think she's bad casting at all. I think if you had to outline,
she's not a problem in the film.
That's all.
It's the
writing, really.
Yeah. It's all down to the story for me, primarily.
And again, it's a pacing issue only in as much as this film has given itself 2.5 hours. It's the longest Bond film. I don't really want to see them go any longer than this, and they still rush the love story.
Well, it's because they introduce her an hour into the film. Yeah. I don't know what the running time. What the running time is now.
The running time now is 1 hour and 19. So just over an hour. It was about 10-15 minutes ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Which is quite common. They did that with Vesper, but just Casino Royale was a much simpler film in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
The pacing was a lot better as well. It was more balanced.
What do you think this one does wrong, Becca? I mean, forget slagging it off or anything. I just mean, what you say about pacing. Where is this film going wrong? Is it trying to do too much?
Yeah, trying to cram too much. I mean, it's quite a very thin plot, basically stretched out. They tried to pack quite a lot in. I mean, it's kind of, that sounds really like contradicting myself. But it's, I just need to kind of simplify it down.
It is odd because it feels okay when you get up to this point.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't drag.
Oh god, no. That's why that's one of my biggest compliments about this film. Despite its long run time being the longest film in the series, I don't think it drags one bit. There's not kind of one scene where I think, oh god, hurry up, get on with it, Whereas there are parts of Quantum, which is the shortest. I thought, oh come on, get a move on,
I think if you're gonna do this story, you need to regardless of like if Craig's going to stay on and do any more, you know, if you're going to do like this story in a Bond film, you need to kind of drop the whole, you know, Bond is related to Blofeld, you know, is his like foster brother or whatever. You need to drop all that angle and just have Blofeld as like the reveal and the climax of the film, much like in You Only Live Twice, and just focus on the relationship between the two characters, Bond and Madeline, and just let that be the build-up and let Blofeld be like the ultimate climax of the film.
And that's it.
I think you're actually right.
That's
spot on. That's how they should have done it.
What's Bond's central relationship in this film? Is it about him and Blofeld?
Or him and Madeline? Pick one.
Is it about him and the new M? Because there's a bit of insubordination there. Is it a little bit to do with him still trying to honour Judi Dench, or is it this love story? You could simplify that down to, is it the love story or is it Blofeld, really? Because the other things are red herring.
It's too busy. There's lots going on.
There's a lot of different focuses there.
Yeah, I think that primarily it's the love story myself is the primary.
It should be.
I mean, yeah. If you look at the story in the whole, that is the plot and the main what you should focus on. Everything else is kind of like secondary in terms of like
the whole film.
Deal with it.
I mean, the clue is conversation with Moneypenny. It's called life, James. You know, can he get a life for himself before he's too old? And in some respects, that does make it thematically a decent bookend to Casino Royale, because he says to Vesper on the beach, I've got to leave with what is left of my soul, because of what the job takes away from you. Right the way back to the very start of his very first film, if you take a life, do you know what you give? And here we are at the end of the film, where he has given the best years of his life, including thematically the recall to Skyfall that he was shot and briefly sort of out of the game and everything else. This job has taken everything from him, and a woman who's had everything taken away from her effectively had to go and basically not witness protection but go and be very, very private somewhere else. You know, they find each other and they can heal each other, and that is an echo of like Bond and Tracy in some respects. That all in theory sounds wonderful.
It is annoying because, you know, like, when you break it down, it does just make it a better Bond film. A better film.
Well, I mean, I hadn't really thought about it before that, but when I've just talked about the thematic bookending and Chris Cornell's song and everything, I think, fuck yeah, that would have been amazing.
and I think that's probably what they were going for, at least in concept. You know, it's like I think I've just reminded there is a thing coming up, particularly when it comes to the scene at the bridge, and you know, spoiler alert, when he's got the gun and he's like, you know, he's about to shoot Blofeld and he says out of bullets. I think that kind of ties in with how Bond feel how to the original couple of films as well, in terms of like his vengeance, because there is a scene even in Quantum of Solace.
Learning not to kill. Yeah,
there is a scene of like there's a scene in Quantum of Solace where you know, where he's talking about vengeance. As well, let me know when you've like avenged the person. So obviously they set
I'd like
up
to know how it feels
as that's kind of like the person who, you know, who is ultimately responsible. He's there at the bridge. I don't think they've done it well enough to establish that, because they've kind of
they haven't. But even
and
not only that, it's Bond learning the same lesson time and time again.
Yeah, but then he's at the bridge with the gun, and he's like, you know, he's got the man who's ultimately responsible, and he decides to let it go. You know, which would have been more impactful.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why Idris Elba can never be Bond. Because the police are all around and there's a cordon. I'm sorry, the institutionally racist Metropolitan Police, a black man with a gun, he would have been fucking flattened immediately.
Well, they're not. Well, at least not homophobic, because you've seen that video shared on Facebook.
Yes, I did. That's really sweet.
Yeah. And for anyone who's listening who doesn't know it, basically,
during the Pride Parade, the police who was working it broke off to propose to his partner.
It's lovely.
And everyone applauded, and even fellow policemen just like waved and saluted.
Until they got him back to the station and fucking beat him up.
Oh, I hope not. I sincerely hope not.
No, they will. They won't have done. But I mean,
no, I know they won't have done.
What I said about Idris Elba probably doesn't hold true now. But we do have this fear that they are far more likely to shoot a person of colour than a white gentleman.
Well, not in this country.
In this country, they are as well. I think it's very subtle, and I don't think it's deliberate, but there is still a lot of racial profiling, inadvertent or otherwise. So anyway, they're looking at a map which is very, very featureless. It reminds me of Blackadder Goes Forth, where Melchit's looking at it and he says, "What a featureless, barren desert that is." It's upside down.
It's upside down, sir.
The map's on the other side.
I fucking love Blackadder.
So do I. Those who aren't from this country, and those younger listeners who may not remember it, go check out Blackadder. It's on Netflix. You can, I've watched the first series, but if you don't like it, don't let that put you off, because it gets kind of a soft reboot for its second series.
I think it gets better as it goes on, as well. I think it gets funnier as it goes on.
And but as soon as Bellucci comes on board...
Just the second series, he writes it.
Yeah. Genius.
It's fantastic. Each version's set in a different time period. But the history's just a backdrop to it. It's just a lot of silly jokes. It's very funny. But the final series, and the bit I was just referring to, was set in World War One, and you've got Stephen Fry there playing a general, and he's asking about how things are going, and they're looking at a map and it's upside down. The other bit I love is where he says, this is the amount of land we've recovered since yesterday, and he says, "What's the scale of this?" And it's actually mud. It's on the table. He goes, "It's like 1-to-1, sir." It's actually life-size. So the amount of land we've recovered since yesterday is, hang on a minute, sir, 17 square feet.
Classic British comedy.
It's really great. It's worth your time, folks. Now, this is supposed to be part of them falling in love, when he sees how self-sufficient she is. She's not a damsel in distress. This is meant to be another bit of the journey.
In isolation, I like this scene.
I do.
You know, as a whole film, I think we need more, but then again, it's like, well, you know, the film needs a bit more time.
Shows you how difficult filmmaking is, though, because the constituent parts are looking good enough, you know, or a lot of them are.
It's getting that balance right, isn't it, though? I mean...
Yeah. But in isolation, I think this is like really, really well done.
Oh yeah, definitely, 100%.
Now she's changed wardrobe, but he hasn't. Interesting.
She switches from white to black, so.
And if she falls asleep, it'll just become a negligee. That's her superpower.
The clothes will just fall off.
I was about to say it's like Banana Man, but I don't know what he got up to.
Banana Man. Well, there's an 80s throwback.
I was trying to remember the theme tune.
Oh, yeah, it was a bit like that, wasn't it? Yeah. Was that Super Ted? No.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's definitely Banana Man, because it's like, oh, Eric, when he eats a banana...
He doesn't do a Banana Man. Yeah. Anyway.
This is 39 Acacia Road. A schoolboy who leads an amazing...
No, Super Ted was Super Ted.
Super Ted.
An amazing transformation occurs.
What a random thing to play over.
So anyway...
Join us for our Spectre review, and we'll be playing the
theme tune. Anyway,
I'm Super Ted while we're at it.
I've been to that restaurant and I've sat in that seat.
Look forward to when we play when we review Star Trek and we start playing theme tunes from Thundercats and
from Gummy Bears and other 80s children cartoons.
We may discuss
and Jason and Wheel Warriors.
Well, Star Trek had an animated series.
Did it?
Mask. So Becca, you actually sat in that same chair?
I did, yeah. We were at that table. We luckily managed to get that table. And then we all took turns sitting in that seat.
Well, was that by coincidence?
It was just by coincidence, because there's quite a few of us, and they split us up into 2 groups, because it was quite busy at lunchtime. And it was just pure luck that we were at that table. And yeah, it was quite cool. But
and you had a fish dish.
I can't remember what it was called. It was a fish dish, but it was really yummy. It was quite, considering it's fish, it's quite some of the more expensive meals that I've eaten, I must admit.
Hey, I wonder if she has a fish course here.
I think here she's strictly in the straight camp, I would say. I love her dress as well. It's very simple. It's very classic.
She was also in Ghost Protocol, the 4th Mission Impossible film. She had a fairly small
She
role.
was. She was.
She was actually quite good in that. I like.
She's
a really good actress. Really good actress.
You know, good casting.
Way to make that 2.
So this is like the scene where they start bonding, really, isn't it? Really, this one where they kind of like.
What I'd like to know is, previously we saw other people in that carriage, and then obviously when
During
the fight kicks off...
Well, they probably legged it, to be
Where
fair.
do they go?
It's not packed, though, is it? You've got a couple
not.
down the end there that could easily run as soon as they see it, because it's a door there.
It's like you said, right, I'm going to kick out his ass later on, so, well, you know. Is this the second time we see him in a white tux? No, 3rd time we see him in a white tux. I think Goldfinger, and then Diamonds. Does Roger wear white tux?
Yeah.
Yes, he does. So 4.
Octopussy, I don't think Octopussy... Is it Octopussy?
You to Kill.
No.
I wonder.
He doesn't.
Thinking. Does he not wear one in Spy? Oh my!
Doesn't wear a tux. Oh, Spy You Love Me. No, he wears a black one in that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he does, doesn't he?
I've got a feeling he might wear both in A View to a Kill. Thought he did in Octopussy. Wasn't he wearing a white tux when he played against Kamal Khan?
I might have done, yeah.
I know what Roger did. I just struggle with when. It's not really my era, as I think we figured out.
But Daniel looks good in it, as always.
I mean, to be honest with you, as much as I slag off Roger Moore, I've still seen his Bond films more than most fucking films in my life of anything else.
Oh, there he is.
This is such a good...
I like that, though.
I love that bit as well. It's just referenced Formula, which is really cool.
It's just straight into it. It's like it's more like introduction to his character. It's just like brutal.
Yeah, unexpected. He does beat the living daylights out of him. Sorry for the pun.
It is. This it's a welcome return.
Yeah. Gee, I don't like that scene. Oh my god.
Yeah, well, what do you expect him to do? Sort of like stay
turn
down
around and
persuade him to sit down. You can push her, not smack her in the face.
To be honest, you don't need to write this into the film, but what are you going to have her do?
No,
it is difficult. I mean, you either play the woman as completely uninvolved, or you get her involved, and if it's a fight, she kind of has to take some punishment.
Well, no, exactly. No, that's it. It's just the way in which it's done, but there we are. It is what it is. But it's one of the most brutal fight scenes in Bond ever.
Yeah, it's just like, I think the one criticism is the fact that they both look immaculate.
It's kind of the lack of after effects.
She's on fire.
Although in the immediate aftermath, that's the Roger Moore move. Look.
Yeah,
that's the one.
I must admit, I kind of like that.
You don't hear him go oof.
Oof.
That would have made it funny. Oof.
That's the one. Oof.
Yeah.
Hey, it's pity their car didn't break down and we got some surface.
It's like, I like how Craig's like on defense with a constant attack, and he's just like coming straight for him constantly.
I think the fight's really good. I think it's really well choreographed. And in the immediate aftermath, he does look a little bit hurt and completely knackered.
God. I wondered how he was going to survive. I thought, bloody hell.
Craig just did a oof face there.
Again, they're damned if they do and damned if they don't, though, because I see caricatures of all the Bond actors together, and you see, and Craig is always like, torn up like a boxer and covered in blood.
He saved it that.
And it was like, he's smooth, why is he so bloody all the time? And it's like, they've got to try and strike a balance, and I sort of think they did here.
Oh.
I think this is a really good scene.
You can snap her in too if you want to.
I think the flower points it out as a Goldfinger reference more than anything else, that white top.
Yeah, certainly. The carnation.
Yeah. Watches it. Right, Hinks is going to deflower, Daniel.
Oh dear.
No, we didn't mean that!
No, I didn't. Not like that. Oh. He has his one line, and he does it without moving his lips.
Yeah, it's not his voice. It's like
no, his lips
like,
did move there, and that is his voice.
Very briefly, Jude.
It's actually his voice. It sounds like it's dubbed.
No, it was him. It may have been ADR, but it's him.
Oh, I can think of one thing we can do now. Oh.
Should we shag now? Or
shall we shag later? I must see these films again. They're quite amusing.
Really? You haven't seen it before?
Anyway.
This is the longest. This is the longest you've ever gone on a Spectre-related conversation without mentioning Stephanie Sigmund 15 times.
Oh no, it's just that
you weren't as indignant tonight.
No, it just annoys me. It's just she's hyped up, and then it's like, oh, she's in it for 5 seconds. Like what? Just ridiculous. But yeah, I've had my Stephanie Sigmund rant.
I still don't know who she is. I know who she is in the film, but who she is outside this, I don't know.
Go and look her up. I've ranted. So anyway. Oh dear, I think from here on out we're doomed.
Right,
they got a new wardrobe.
So that little case he's got beside him has a lot of clothes in it. And an ironing board.
Although where they're going, they won't need their clothes because they got a wardrobe ready and waiting for them.
Where are we going? We don't need clothes.
I think they've dropped us off at the set of the wrong film. Isn't this Once Upon a Time in the West?
There he is.
I love the way they're dropped off there. They're like it was their own private train.
Yeah.
You say about in the carriage, but like it just drops them off and that's it.
Yeah, that's it. The Spectre Railways, don't you know?
I think. Well, this is the start of Act 3, isn't it? And this is where the film starts to go to shit.
The difficult third act.
Yeah. Love the way he moves though. It's not as graceful as a Brosnan, but there's just something to it.
48. Oh, still going.
Well, he's more brutish and he's more.
He's more introverted, I guess. Yeah, brooding's definitely the word.
Well, I tell you what, he was looking quite. You say he's more introverted, but he was looking quite sociable on the train a minute ago. He really got into it.
He had a good old go. It looks a little bit grey head, but I don't know.
Yeah, there's probably some grey there. But I was worried during Skyfall he was getting too old, and I don't think that's a problem here at all.
I think his haircut worked against him in Skyfall. That's a really sad comment to make.
Yeah, he does.
For sure, haircut worked against
I do wonder if he just went home and never slept during the shooting of that film.
He does look slightly older in Skyfall. It is a little bit weird.
It is. It's a bit like Roger with Spy and Moonraker. He looks better in Moonraker, and it's like a couple of years later.
He's fitter.
Oh, they're kind of in love now.
They're holding hands, so it's alright.
She's admiring his knitted.
She's
watched him knit. She knows he's a sensitive man.
Yes, watched him knit that tie. They go from hollowed out volcano to hollowed out crater.
Do you need to hollow out a crater?
Well, no, but like not obviously hollowed out crater, but a CGI crater.
No, I know what you mean. Most of this is CG, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, you wouldn't know it, would you? You wouldn't know it.
Alright, so she was in the bridge. I've not seen the bridge, so that's probably why I don't know her.
Yeah.
Y'all.
And she's in Annabelle too.
Yeah, terrifyingly.
But that's a quality piece of work.
Maybe that was a paycheck. So.
I think he's...
Well, to be fair, most of them probably paid... Spectre was probably a paycheck, really.
No, it was art. I think I've seen him in this suit long enough now. I think you should go and put another one on.
I've seen him in a different dress as well. Ooh.
Does look kind of cool, that. In its holster. So...
Right.
So basically he just expected to just be picked up?
Yes.
We probably already covered this before.
What's your question, Chris?
I don't know. Just how do you know he's going to get picked up by thingamajig?
Well, they obviously know he's on the truck. I mean, they've basically been led there by the clues they found at the American anyway.
Yeah. Isn't it? It's logical course of action, really, isn't it?
Presumably that's the route to get there. Presumably.
I think it's logical course of action. Isn't it? It's logical course of action.
Presumably.
Presumably.
Presumably. The thing is, he's got it so well planned out. I'm only surprised they don't have a double room, because we're supposed to believe Blofeld probably planned. We're supposed to believe Blofeld plans everything so well, even the unknowable things from earlier films, that he probably did arrange the circumstances under which they shagged on the previous.
Well, Dave, what you don't understand is like Blofeld has a no shagging policy in his his layers, so I'm afraid they have to be confined to separate rooms regardless.
Mm.
I wonder how one applies for like a job at a concierge and either than another.
Evil organisation.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be live-in, which makes me wonder about the salary, because obviously you sacrifice a bit of that for accommodation. Because the commute would be a bastard. And then, is it salary sacrifice? In which case, that does affect your pension negatively.
Because they've even got waiters, and I'll be honest, they must not have that much to do, because, like, how many guests do they have there?
Would you have to sacrifice your salary, though, for your commute, though? Or would they, because they're quite wealthy, even though it's all through money laundering?
You accommodation.
But yeah, would you, like...
Join us for our Spectre Reviewmentary, when we'll be discussing pension arrangements and salary sacrifice. After we've done the anal sex and cunnilingus jokes.
And then and then someone from the British government comes in and kills you all with a big explosion.
Yeah, set off by him shoot
one bullet. Yeah,
one bullet. You know.
One bullet. One well placed bullet.
He shoots a can of Dr. Pepper. What's the worst thing that could happen?
It could just be Mentos and Coke in that big.
It's been in the last 3 Craig films where he just shoots something not particularly sizable, and it all goes off.
Well, he's meant to be, excellent sharpshooter, so why not?
Well, yeah, there's good aim, and then there's like
jamminess.
He has a quick go at archery, and the whole fucking centre blows up when he hits the bullseye.
But the question is like not the fact that he's a good shot; it's the fact that come on, the whole place will not blow up from the fact that they're shooting that one thing.
Maybe they would. I don't know. It depends what fuel there is there, but.
You can see that.
But again, you think it's a bit of a bad flaw, the fact that everything's absolutely tickly.
Yeah, they're just outside doing.
If this one thing gets hit by something, the whole place will go up.
He sends his henchmen out to do some target practice, and they all fucking die. Everybody, him included.
Unless they just didn't realise it, and then Blofeld's out there going, I'll remember that for next time. So the whole thing about the rock, I never really got that either. I was like, well, they're sitting around, he's talking about, there's a big rock, that's why this whole thing is there. Should we move on? That's pretty much what the scene is.
Pretty much, yeah, get on with it.
That gives me something to sort of waffle shit about.
He's taking a leaf out of Sanchez's book and not wearing any socks.
I never noticed that was Sanchez!
With loafers.
Sockless loafers, oh my god.
He must have blisters. He must have.
That was much more in the sort of Miami Vice here. I'm surprised he wasn't wearing wicker.
Oh my god.
What, while rolling up his sleeves?
Rolling up his sleeves.
Oh, very serious. Don't give it a dot.
Yeah, that's a good line, to be fair. That is a good...
That's a good line.
It's not a badly... It's almost not a badly written film. It's a badly storied film. In that,
narrative.
it just...
Yeah, narratively.
In its individual bits, scenes play okay for the most part. But the overall thing has some problems, but... I mean, we'll talk about it during the rankings next week, but I certainly don't think this is a bad Bond film.
Oh god, no, not by any stretch of the imagination.
Well, yeah, we'll go into the rankings, and to be honest with you, there are... I like all Bond films, regardless. So it's difficult to kind of when you put favourites, and there's certainly, I think so far this is above certain bad Bond films that you kind of enjoy, regardless of how bad they are, So I won't reveal which ones, but there's always them kind of those Bond films that are just it's bad, but we all kind of love them anyway. or just like so bad that you start to enjoy them. But you know, this is kind of above that. But
this is what we're saying right at the top of the film. It's like once this came out in America, the critics were like, worst Bond film ever. This is not the case. Not the case. I disagree 100%. I mean, it's not the best, sadly, but it's not the worst.
We had all this a few years ago with Quantum of Solace, and I'm thinking, hang on a minute. With Quantum of Solace, it was like, hang on a minute, it's not even the worst of its fucking decade.
No,
and there's only been 3 Bond films in this decade.
It's because it's followed Skyfall, and everyone loves Skyfall. So
just as Quantum followed Casino Royale, which was even harder, adding a writer's strike and probably the wrong direct. You can like or dislike Mendes, but I don't think he's fundamentally wrong to do a Bond film full stop.
No, it's not.
Whereas I think Mark Forster kind of was.
Interesting choice.
But like I keep saying, if you're going to experiment, you'll get it wrong now and again. And that's all right by me. I didn't hate this.
Gone forever.
Yeah, this bit, I think I mentioned this in the review.
This is a cheesy.
Like, why is Bond like, no, she can't see, as if like it reveals a big secret. It's like, what, you've not actually lied to her?
No. Oh, terrifying.
What is all like in sync?
How well choreographed his workforce is when the lights go off.
So I get the reason why, because it's meant to give like a little bit. Oh, they're very like
quite menacing,
spooky and eerie. But it's
like, also that element of he has total control of everything.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's just a little bit too. I don't know. It's too hammy. It's like they're all hypnotised. It's not like in reality. I mean, like if they're all like that, then there would have to be some sort of hypnosis type mind control element to it all, and it's just a little bit. I don't know. I don't see this matching with what we've seen in Quantum. If you get my drift.
Sure.
The other thing is Quantum. Well, I suppose it's very much like the head of the octopus, isn't it? If you were to say Quantum is the same organisation, which it isn't quite, but let's just give it that pass for it.
Subsidiary.
The idea that like they've got people everywhere. Well, it's going to be different out there. We're effectively at HQ here. It's going to be a little different.
True. But I don't know. It's just very. I don't know. I don't know quite how to word it, but it just doesn't quite match. It's not in sync.
No. I'm surprised they didn't send that video into You've Been Framed.
Oh.
Look what happens as this idiot's messing around with this gun, and look what happens.
Yeah, but this whole thing, like, no, she can't see. It's like, what? Like,
He doesn't want her to be distressed. That's just blowing his brains out.
Well, yeah, but it's the way it's portrayed. Like, Craig's like going like, no, she can't see.
I did think because she hadn't said I don't think he'd said he was there when he died. I thought on first viewing she was going to be like furious because he was there and didn't tell her. Yeah. But it was clearly not anything to do with that. It was more he didn't want her to be upset. That's all.
Yeah.
And he's falling in love with her, Chris. He played with her crusty jugglers the previous night.
There's a cat.
And like, hey, that's like there's a clue. It tells you that, isn't it?
Literally, when I saw it at the premiere, everybody cheered. They're like, yeah.
Which is probably the first time that's ever happened when a cat's come on a cinema screen. Do you think they went home and then the next night Coronation Street came on? I don't know if they've still got the cat in the credits. Like, hooray!
Probably, yeah. After the tram crash. Oh dear.
I've no idea. I haven't seen it in years.
Yeah, but what I was going to say... Oh, yeah. I get the reason why. I think I said in the initial review, I think it would have been better if he was a little bit more calm and collected and say, like, don't look at this, you don't need to see this.
They're trying to protect her, really.
Yeah.
Close your eyes, Marion. Madeline.
Oh, dear. I'm kind of glad the...
Spoiler alert for in 2 weeks.
Yes, spoiler alert. Wait, some of these films that we're covering, well, Bond is like 50 plus years old. If you haven't seen these films by now, I mean, granted, I haven't, but I know enough about them. It's like, well, come on. I'm really glad we got the sound off at this point. Oh dear.
Now, I know this torture scene's probably gotten some grief. There is a kind of an eerie creepiness to it.
Ugh.
But I think that I think the after effect just does render it a bit like.
It appears.
What's the point?
He's okay, isn't he? He's clearly
I
not
buy
screwed up
into
by
the
it.
idea that he would torture him.
Ooh.
I buy into the idea that he would be really cruel with it because of his feelings from childhood and everything else, and I buy that he'd make her watch. What I don't buy is Bond would leap up and go, let's let's go and shoot up some bad guys and fuck. It's a bit too there is no effect to this. And also I don't know if they're going at quite the right parts of the brain here. You know, the bits in the throat.
Yeah.
They'll just have a bit of a cough. They won't have like muscle
Well,
phase.
it's just the side of the jaw, isn't it? It's like, you know,
in your ear.
It'll probably affect his eating. It's like, got an annoying click now.
But she doesn't try to leave or anything, does she? I mean,
after effect as he had soup for a couple of days.
yeah.
While the pain subsides.
I'll have a tinnitus or something like that in his ear.
Watch as a porterhouse steak goes to waste.
This is ridiculous.
See, this is a forerunner of both. This is both a reflection on our Bond series and a forerunner of when we do Tarantino next year. That our episodes are getting longer and more bloated as we go. The music one was unusual, and this is obviously unusual too.
Yeah,
they'll still be around the sort of two to 2.25 hour mark on average, I would think.
There'll be some films where we won't have as much to say like we do in the Bond films, though. To be fair, so I expect there'll be some franchises where we'll be like talk for about an hour and we're like, well we're done
watching the movie.
An hour-long episode like that's ever going to happen, unless Becca gets away and we do cover Austin Powers.
Yeah,
No.
It's not. No.
No.
Well, technically we're already covering Austin Powers 3. Watching this, so. Yeah, the only thing missing is Michael Caine and
Mike Myers.
and Steven Spielberg cameos. Really, that's what.
I do wonder if the cat's digging his claws in a bit as well.
Probably.
So he's taking his mother's maiden name. Does that actually include his entire name?
We don't know about that, is it? So, catchy name.
Mother's bloodline, so I'm assuming there were. He's it's a bit like some kids get named after their dad or their granddad or something. They're probably names. I don't think they've thought it through, but had they thought it through, I would think the first two names would be from ancestors, because he says mother's bloodline, not mother's maiden name.
No.
Yeah, that's true.
So it could be from somewhere along here.
But again, it's very vague as well. It's it's from mother. So I get why you choose the mother over the father, but it's it's like...
How much better would it have been if we'd known from the start and just had a little... You don't have to change materially Casino Royale very much.
No.
But just the odd hint. Well, we had it, the hint of something bigger.
Oh, hello.
And then maybe by Skyfall or whatever film went third, we maybe hear his name, or we hear reference to a Ernst or something.
Or some figure who's in control. I mean, that'll be enough to is it Blofeld? Is it Blofeld? It's Blofeld, isn't it? They're working up to that, or something like that.
They've tried to do too much here. But as I said in the original review, I understand why. I don't necessarily agree it was the best course of action, but you can see the position the producers are in. If they'd have got Spectre back in 2004, then things might have unfolded a bit differently.
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't just go keep it with Quantum, and then we have a film where they have a big remarketing, rebranding exercise.
I remember hearing like a rumor that back in Quantum of Solace that there was like Al Pacino was like rumored to.
There was a rumor of Al Pacino. There was also a rumor, believe it or not, of Rachel Weisz.
Mrs. Daniel Craig.
She wasn't at the time though.
No, she wasn't.
And the press hadn't even got wind they were together at that point. So it was just one of those names that came out. And then the following year, a few years later, she was in that Bourne film. And then around that time they got married, and that was the end of that.
Yeah, it's quite a quick one, wasn't it?
I don't know. They closed the curtains. I couldn't see.
Yeah, not like that, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That's convenient that the things open when things explode.
They had a little look at each other again. That's to cover.
Oh God.
That's the proof that they're
yes, again, it's deficiencies in the script, really. And this is he looks the part, and so stylistically, I quite like this. But again, it's very like the Brosnan era. He's out in the open. All right, I know he took cover there. I picked the wrong time to say that, didn't I? He's out in the open. But largely, he's providing quite an open target, and he's shooting people with no real hint of danger.
I think it's more like down. I mean, what I feel about this bit, it just feels like, right, we've got to get him out, right?
Yeah.
And it just feels very like, that'll do.
Yeah, I mean, if this was the end of the film, this bit would be harder. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. And I just think, well, you would normally naturally have like a big action set piece to this, and you kind of, myself as a Bond fan and a viewer, it would expect that. So this kind of came up as a bit disappointing, especially when you have like a huge explosion like this. It just feels very like, oh, is that it? Like you got away from that pretty easily. And it's just like, okay, then back to London for a very frustrating last act.
I have to admit, even on first viewing, I didn't like the London stuff at all. I'm sure listeners will go back to the Spectre episode and I'm raving about it. I recall not liking it.
Yeah, I remember you saying like, God, man, this Louis does love London, doesn't he?
Yeah, they just had to bring it home for some reason. I didn't like the old MI6 stuff in that building, and then he walks up to him and calls him Blofeld, which didn't sound right.
There's a bit where he's like flying off an helicopter and he's going like, "Goodbye, James Bond," and I was just like, that doesn't even sit right.
No,
I mean, would he either say goodbye, Mr. Bond?
That'd be amazing.
Or if it would have suited his character, he would just said goodbye, James.
Exactly. It would have been much better.
Yeah, I mean, the point with the reboot, obviously, is you don't have to do things the same way, so it doesn't have to be goodbye, Mr. Bond, if you want to call him James, but goodbye, James Bond.
Well, they came up on the same terms with each other.
But like Bond is a superhero.
Yeah.
Yeah. Quite safe, you're quite high up. There he is.
He's not looking sinister at all, really.
I'm hello. Oh dear.
Well, that read really poorly, didn't it? I'm this one. Pleased to meet you.
Right, let's just get on with it, shall we?
This is where it turns to spooks.
Yeah, it's a bit spooks, isn't it? I've still not seen the Spooks movie. Must catch it up.
It's okay. Yeah. Jon Snow's in it.
Ooh. Pit Kit Harington.
Did you not know that?
No, yeah, I do know who's in it, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know.
I've not seen it. I've seen all the series, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I've not seen the series much, really.
It's good. It's good. I think I watched all the way through.
An ex of mine really liked it, so I ended up watching it all sort of then. So I think it had either finished or was close to finishing when I watched it to start with. Starts really strong, finishes fairly well. Some of the middle seasons are okay. It's not a bad show.
Didn't it, though?
Finished must be about 4 or 5 years ago.
Would you say it's the British 24?
No.
Not quite.
Oh.
Tries to be.
It doesn't really have that tone.
The two are completely different shows, to be honest. I struggle with this bit here because she can't make up her mind. She goes, "Oh, yeah, I do," and I don't, and it's just like, well,
I mean, it's a long way to come just to say bye.
It really is.
I'll fly to London with you, and then we'll just go like, nah.
And then she's like, "Oh no, I can't do this anymore," and she clearly can. And it's like, oh,
Perhaps she just wanted a free ticket to London.
Yeah.
She's at the comedy store now, going, "I've always wanted to come here."
But no, I think they have to kind of reconcile that part of themselves, don't they? I think, and finally, obviously, at the end of the film, they managed to do that. Now she's like, have I made the right choice? It's all about the inner turmoil.
She's going to put a beret on and go and do a stage version of Hello Hello.
Just have to meet Renee for
it
a
is a bit.
She says this in the words.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what she looks like. They're dressed like that.
Listen very carefully.
Also, it's a little bit unsafe for her just to let her walk off on her own when there's
goons around.
Afoot.
They could snatch her at any minute.
Well, they do.
They do, yeah, quite literally. Oh, duff.
That last bit looks like it says Wood City.
So now we know. Let's go.
It's always Wood City when the Bond's around.
Just when you guys are around. Oh dear, this is terrifying.
I haven't got wood.
It's quite incompetent, really, how they take Bonds but yet allow an aging old man to sort of sneak away
Or other.
Who's just come out of a car accident, so he's blatantly injured.
Yeah. Reverse.
Nuns!
It looks like he gets shot here. So I would have thought they'd been shot inside of the face, but no.
No, it was glass from the window.
But it's that, put the edges together, it looks like, oh, take his eye out.
It's been a long time since I was in London at night, but is it ever that quiet?
No.
I would imagine not, no.
I mean, I have been there. I've stayed there many times and worked there and stuff on occasion, but it's been a few years. I've been there for a while. I don't ever recall seeing London that quiet.
But then, it's like when people... I remember when Fast and Furious 6 came out and they were talking about when they were speeding around Piccadilly Circus. It's like, oh, come on. As if that, as if Piccadilly Circus was ever that,
You can have a good race there, yeah.
Yeah, and I was thinking, yeah, but come on, it's a film.
It got more realistic as it went on, though, because we all know a good 35-mile long runway, don't we?
Yes.
That runway was fucking long.
Do you think we should cover Fast and Furious series?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, go on, it's got to be done.
Be a couple of years, yeah.
But by the way, is that possible to snap those things? I don't think it is.
Apparently, I didn't like that.
One can do it? Well, you never know.
It was just too easy. It's like, well, if they're that easy, they're pointless, aren't they?
Yeah. No, because Bond's a superhero, he's got super strength. So.
I think that was it. I think he was meant to be able to do it, so...
But again, they're never consistent with that. I mean, at least in the Brosnan era, he was knocking people out in one fucking punch. In this, Craig finds his fights difficult, so they don't portray him as Superman, but the way he pulled his hands apart then was just a bit like, oh, okay.
It's actually made of string. Ooh.
But the thing is that they could have easily got away around it. It was like, we'll just find a knife on one of the guys and just cut or something, or, it doesn't take much.
Well, we've seen fights choreographed where people have used, an attack to actually break them out of whatever they're, in. Yeah.
And again,
I feel a bit like that when you see a woman slapped in a film, and it's like, well, it's like Madeline in this one. It's like, well, actually, in the way you've laid it out, it had to happen like that. But why did you lay it out like that?
Yes, that's got another laugh as well. Now we know what C stands for.
Yeah.
Which
she hasn't said careless, though.
Yeah, just left it.
Just left it hanging, yeah.
Well, it kind of makes me think whether that was actually intentional.
Yeah.
You do wonder.
It was actually...
Yeah, I mean, it could have been Wolf. I don't know.
Because everyone got a massive laugh in the cinema, and it makes me wonder whether, whether it was actually intentional to have that big laugh.
Right, Rafe, we're going to have you say careless just in case people think you meant cunt.
Well,
it's like they did it, and then Rafe was like, I don't know, I don't like the idea of me calling him a cunt. Okay,
Can we just say something?
Say careless.
Yeah, we'll say careless, but we'll get a laugh because it does imply that chances are it was always in the script. We know how well thought through it all was.
Yeah.
In fact, Blofeld had probably planned it since Casino Royale. when we get there, we'll have Rafe calling. We'll have Rafe as calling Andrew Scott a cunt.
So basically, he set this whole thing up for it to fail anyway.
And the start of the plan that led to him calling him a cunt was Mr. Green introducing the Schiffer to some Ugandans. He was playing the long game with it.
Now, if only he predicted that Bond would shoot down his helicopter with one pistol, you know.
I would love them to do it in reverse for once. Like that. This is the version we see, but the version they play on planes
backwards.
Just a bunch of old dears on British Airways going.
And just to reflect on Refine's line, I found C's whole no M stands for moron. It just sounds like fuck's sake.
Oh, shut up.
Yeah.
And that's how he says it as well.
Yeah, it is pretty much like it's just like what are you 10?
Where did you get that insult? The toilet store?
The toilet store.
That's what he should have said. Or he said, no, we know what M stands for. Munt.
Making it work. This isn't creepy at all.
No, it's very well thought out.
I like the fact he's got them all to pose for headshots. Is that on their induction day? Just before, just before
ID
health
badge
safety
photos.
and just after the union had spoken to them.
At the union. Excuse me.
Why have you fired?
No, I was having a sip of water and the lid's quite noisy, so excuse me. This bit's quite cool.
I like
time
the
to fart,
effect.
Becca. The sound of the lid would have covered it.
I do like the effect of the broken glass looking like the octopus, like in the poster.
And I like the scar as well.
I just don't like the fact Bond gave him the scar. It's making the world smaller.
It really does. Ouch. It ties them together.
In the next film, we'll find Blofeld's second in command, Irma Bunt, was Bond's geography teacher.
Former lover.
Former lover, yeah.
It'll be like a horrid twist. It'll be like, "Whoa, that your Aunt Champion."
Yeah,
Was that you?
It will turn out to be Madeline Swan, who gets brutally disfigured, and she blames Bond for it and joins Blofeld.
Yeah, probably something ridiculous like that. Will I find actually? No.
You know what? Now I've said it, I wouldn't put it past him.
God, it's open season now, isn't it? Pretty much. Punch him in the face. Be done with it.
Through the glass.
Yeah, through the glass. You know you can do it. Add a countdown. He points a lot in this film. There's a lot of pointing.
That's all he does. You know, is this like Sleepwalking, Christoph Waltz? I mean, he's always great, but you just think he's done a better film performance than the Three Musketeers.
He really hammed up there, didn't he? He really had a good old hand.
I'll be honest with you, he did a better performance in the Three Musketeers than he did in this. I'm pretty sure some listeners will be like, Chris, you're high, or what the fuck are you talking about? That film's terrible. I'm not talking about the film itself. I'm talking about his individual performance.
That film was just terrible from start to end, but it was so much fun. Like so much fun watching it. It was so cheesy.
Yeah.
Becca, is there anything you don't have fun watching?
Die Another Day. It's just painful.
But that's the only thing ever.
Well, it's like me. I'm normally quite sort of nice about films. I'm generally not.
Bizarrely, unless it's a film series you like.
Yes.
I don't know.
That must make your sense of anticipation really odd. You know, a feature-length Mr. Muscle advert and you're creaming yourself.
I think the
latest Bond film and you're going in with real trepidation.
The worst film I've ever seen is probably...
Don't tread on my dreams. Yeah, go on.
I have to think about the worst film I've ever seen. I'll find out.
No, like Project X I hated. I really just...
That was mental. That was a crazy movie. Oh my god.
And there's a sequel this year, apparently.
No.
Project Y.
Project Y, yeah. Oh, down you go. Bye.
Much more male cast.
Yeah, Project Y.
Yeah, no, I absolutely hated Project X.
Yeah, that was a bit insane.
I think I just thought it was just a vile film. Really, I don't normally get like very like angry and sort of politically sort of in what the film actually is saying about that kind of things. I'm normally kind of quite easy going with that, but I thought that was just a fucking horrible.
It's quite sexist as well. I thought it was very sexist.
Well, it's just a horrible
experience from start to end.
Like seriously, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you know, it's sending out all the wrong messages. It's got a central character who is absolutely hateful from start to finish and doesn't even learn any.
No, he doesn't. He didn't learn from his mistakes, does he? He doesn't at all. There's no redeeming features.
Have you seen it, Dave?
No.
Oh yeah. Well, if you ever feel like you need to be angry about something, watch Project X.
Yeah, because I need more stress and tension in my fucking life.
Vent all your frustrations.
But anyway, back to Spectre.
Back to the last few minutes.
Yeah, exactly what I thought of this part of the film.
I just find this very uninteresting. It's like, okay, right, Bond's got a race against time to actually find the woman who he loves. It's like, yeah, we've seen kind of this before. It's not really interesting in the Bond film.
One by numbers.
There was absolutely no reason that the old-fashioned M's office we've got now couldn't have been in this building. Particularly as when he goes back to work, they could have just done a bit of a refurb or be using a different part of the building. I don't know why they've broken away from what is still the MI6 building. This for anyone listening in another country, this was the real MI6 building, and in real life it still is.
Yeah, it's still there. They haven't really blown it up in real life. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Word is one.
There you go. Goodbye, James Bond.
It's just like he says it quite dismissively. It's like, oh, as an afterthought.
Well, no, I'm going to name myself after my mother's bloodline. I'm Peter Briggs.
Could be related to the guy who voiced K9 and such in Doctor Who.
Oh, I thought you meant in the film K9. I was thinking.
Oh, no.
He wasn't that. The German Shepherd wasn't that talkative in that film.
No.
That's quite a poor effect, actually.
That was quite. Yeah, that one's a bit good.
That was actually really Still, they are under the gun with these things normally.
But I think overall, as I probably reviewed it, it's a much prettier looking film than Skyfall, for example. It's a lot more colourful.
To be fair, them and
richer, warmer.
But yeah, that's it.
It was a quick shoot, this as well.
They always are, though.
Are they?
Well, I mean, they started in about December 14, I think, and they normally start around that time.
Wasn't it? Yeah,
January.
November, December time, wasn't it?
It's quite normal for them to sort of kick off Bond films around January, shoot through till about June or July. They normally finish a lot closer to their release than a lot of films. I mean, when you think of... I mean, I know there's a lot of effects work in it, but when you think when Justice League's going to come out and it's nearly finished filming now, Guardians of the Galaxy is a year away. It's nearly finished filming. It has finished filming now.
Well, sequel, yeah.
Bond films finish about 3 months before they come out.
Again, some really well-placed shots. Managed to bring them all down.
I didn't have a vast problem with this, to be honest with you. I should do, because he's looking up at a black sky at a black helicopter. I mean, that should be just impossibly difficult, but I went with it okay.
Like, you know what? It's not the fact that he's shot a helicopter. It's just the fact that you just want a bit more for the ultimate confrontation with his.
I wanted him to use a champagne cork like in the Playboys.
Capital idea.
See, that would have been something at least. And it's very lucky there was like barely any traffic on that bridge.
No, they shut it off especially. He knew who was going to be there.
I think that's the bridge that on a sunny day, the pattern on the actual sort of railings to the bridge looked like cocks.
Yeah.
Oh.
Of course, Blofeld probably planned that. Oh, there's the concierge.
Good henchman.
I just realised. There's the concierge guy.
It was. Excuse me.
I'll show you what I mean now. It is. It's Westminster Bridge.
Yeah, it's Westminster Bridge. Yeah, that's correct.
I'm just sending you an image. That's what I mean.
To the group.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
On a sunny day, that's what it looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. So does this mean if he crops up again in the next film, are we going to see him in the wheelchair?
What, and offer him to buy him a steel delicacy?
That's an stainless too.
Yeah, and they're going to knock down the O2 so they can have a quick fly round the Docklands area there.
Yeah, drop him down a stack. They can do you a deal.
It's not going to be exactly the same. When's he going to go bald? Charles Gray didn't get the memo, did he?
No, he didn't. He didn't get the baldy memo.
I'm just waiting for him to go in drag. Christoph Waltz in drag.
Oh, that I'd love to see.
Right, we want you...
Making magpies.
Right, Daniel, at this point you're going to finish him. No, not like that!
Finish him. Oh god, Mortal Kombat, finish him. Finish him.
Yeah, characters don't jerk each other off, though, do they?
Nope. Oh.
I did comment. I did like the piece of music in this.
I'm not sure. Oh no! Hang on. I was about to say I don't remember it, but I've got a feeling I might have played it on the musical episode. I'm not sure.
What better to do?
No, that was Vauxhall Bridge from a different part of the film. The music episode, listeners, isn't going to go on YouTube if you've been looking for it. Too much. I mean, it's a good sign in one respect, but the sheer amount of music we put on it caused so many copyright issues. And I excised about 4 things and still couldn't get it through. And it just got to a point where I'd have butchered the episode down to nothing. So it's not going to go on there.
It's clearly looking intent of like Blofeld going, right, fine, I'll kill you both. Well, I'll kill her.
Eventually.
Yeah, but this is all part of his plan, right? His plan is to get detained.
To get captured.
He's probably going to meet a florist in prison that he will instruct to work at James Bond's wedding and decorate the car. And then he's going to get some people to drive past and make fun of them, say it was flowers,
shooting.
and then they'll pull over. He's got it all planned out.
It's Tracy Mark II, but no, it's not Tracy.
And here's the gratuitous.
They drive off into the morning.
Like, just in case, the story.
Just in case you've forgotten I'm an artist as well.
Yes.
The actual narrative's finished, but let's just give you like a moment so you can wank off to the Aston Martin.
Yeah. There are civil service guidelines on the amount of space each employee should get around their desk. I think
Really?
Q is at the upper end of that guidance.
That's quite interesting. Okay. Yeah, he's got that whole room to himself, really, hasn't he?
Still, it's all full of stuff he's working on, look. By himself.
The scaling back Q branch, government cuts and all.
This is government cuts, isn't it?
There's the epic cut. Oh dear. Sorry, waiting for the next government to come and increase the budget.
Can you imagine if he misunderstood?
His partridge gloves.
There's just one thing I need. I would love it if Ben Whishaw just walked over and tried to kiss him. That's not what I meant.
That could be another kind of different, character aspect. Q could have like a male assistant and go that way. So you could have Tanner, who's a turncoat.
It's called Q. He writes it on his greeting cards.
It could be not R, but something else.
Love and blowjobs.
Badumch.
Well, there we have it.
That was Le Spectre.
Yeah.
The last film that we reviewed / commentary on. So,
well, in the Bond series, anyway.
Which I think is quite representative of the series as a whole.
What? Really lazy, ill force out? And...
Well, just lazy blowjob jokes, I think, is very representative of our work to date.
As well as fun facts, Becca, don't worry.
Okay.
Yes, fun facts, most important thing.
We did finish an episode on an anal sex joke, but I can't remember which one.
All of them?
Sorry, I can't remember which one we didn't.
So there you are. So closing thoughts. Are we all same as we started this episode? Are we still very okay with it?
Yeah, pretty middling. It's pretty. It's a pretty film. I still think he's one of the very best Bonds. That elevates it. For all the problems with the romance, I think they've cast her well. I like Hinks. I like all the set design. I do think it's a better looking film than Skyfall, but I think I'm in a minority on that. But yeah, it's got problems. It's got problems that I overlooked first time. I knew they were there and I spotted them, but I was so ready for them, I overcame them. And now I look at it and just go, why did you do that? But I still like it.
You know what? I'd feel better about the shit that's in it if I know there was another one on the way. But because it's still uncertain, it just feels very much like, is that all you're gonna do? It's clear you must have a contingency plan. You must deliver on this because what you've given us now is not really satisfying to what you've sold us. So, I can see where they're going. I think they kind of left it open ended. So if it is the last of the Craig one, they'll just start with someone else, and it'll be almost like a reboot again. But if they do continue with Craig, then they got somewhere to go with it. With the Revenge of Blofeld kind of angle. So and obviously the death of Madeline, presumably. But we will see.
I think hopefully I'd like to see at least one more with Daniel Craig before he does, if he bows out eventually, but we'll see.
Which book is it where, I can't remember, it might be Moonraker, where he does end up with a woman? Is it Gala Brand? And by the time the next book comes round, it just didn't work out. And I do wonder if you just do it that way.
And that's it, pretty much.
Well, yeah.
The problem is that there's no way they can resolve it that's going to feel fresh if it isn't that. Because we've seen killings at the start of films in Bourne. We've seen Bond's love killed off in this very series. We're all waiting for that bullet through her head. And I just think, can't they think of something else, even if it is resolved off screen? But we'll see.
But even that just feels a little bit of a cop-out as well.
Well, yeah, it's a cop-out because they've left it in an uncomfortable place, really.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's Spectre, folks. So we're on the last episode of our Run of the Bond series. It's sad times.
Now we've got our but yeah, as a last hurrah for the Bond series, we've got our rankings episode coming up next, where we shall all rank the Bond movies. Amazingly enough, ranking.
Oh. You should see me ranking when I get started. when I get started, oh my god, it goes on.
There's no tomorrow.
It goes on for hours and finishes gloriously.
It'll be really interesting because we've got some. Well, I struggle to come. This will be the definitive list because, as my list changes on a day-to-day basis. But this will be my definitive list of all the Bonds.
Stop saying it changes from day to day. Then this will
No,
be definitive. It changes day to day, but this will be definitive.
It won't.
Eventually, it will be definitive. It'll be laminated and everything.
It will. When we come down to doing the actual episode, it'll be right. I've got a laminated special.
How close are you to a final list?
I've done it already, I think.
Good, right?
So it is definitely definitive.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's not like. So it's not likely to
it.
change. It's not likely to change now.
No. I've got to laminate it now, and then we'll be all done. So.
Is yours finished?
I'm gonna watch a few more Bond films just to refresh my feelings about certain ones, and so
You have a list, don't you?
I have a list, an outline, yeah, and then I'll just reshuffle if I feel differently.
And unlike Becca's, it hasn't changed 7 times since last week.
No. And I'm not what's called it definitive, so.
I've ranked the Bond films once before, and there are quite a few differences this time, actually, which surprised me. But that was the whole point of this series. We were supposed to visit them anew, and it's actually a fairly good sign that you can actually come in and see different things. We didn't. I mean, if I would try to watch Star Wars now, which we'll do eventually, I find it's one of the few series I find very difficult to watch fresh now. I barely concentrate on it because I've seen it so many times. I've actually managed well with this series to really examine the films each time, and consequently, as I say, there's some differences.
Have you had any pleasant surprises? Films they thought, oh shit, I didn't expect to enjoy that as much as I did.
Yeah, I would name 2 or 3 actually. Not always pleasant to the fact that to the point of now thinking they're good, but I would class Moonraker as a pleasant surprise because it wasn't terrible. He was better in it than the previous film, and it looked and sounded so beautiful. So it's still not a very good film, but that was a pleasant surprise. I've always liked The Living Daylights, but it's gone up further in my estimation.
Me too, spoiler alert, but yeah.
For Your Eyes Only has gone up in my estimation. Although it was already... I don't think it was top 10 last time. I've already said in the rankings episode it is now. It wasn't far outside, but it was. It is in there now. We'll talk about it more when we get to it. But yeah, there's been a couple of pleasant surprises. There's been 1 or 2 things that have dropped away. The broad strokes are kind of similar, but yeah. What about you?
For me?
Yeah.
I'd say probably there's probably a few surprising, not pleasant surprises, but kind of certain Bond films that have dropped in my estimation. But Living Daylights has been a little bit of a... I've always liked Living Daylights, but it has gone up a lot more.
It's closer to License to Kill than it's ever been. Put it that way.
Yeah, definitely. But then it's kind of one of them reservations where I just I've made no bones about it. This podcast that I love Dalton, and I think my heart just sang. So we're just a heart wants what it wants.
Yeah, the amount of time we put to the series as well, and it was a relief by the time we got there. What about you, Becca? Pleasant surprises?
A few films are kind of near the top, and a few films are near the bottom, and there we are. No, there are a few films that I've watched and then rewatched and then kind of noticed new things about them. Thought, oh, okay, so maybe that elevates them above other ones. Some pleasant surprises, but the rest I think will be as expected.
She's not revealing much.
No. Though I will say this, Thunderball. I like Thunderball a lot more watching for the podcast as well, so that's another one that can go up as well.
Thunderball's going to be an odd one when I get there.
But I always considered Thunderball to be one of the lower ones, but it's grown. Yeah.
No. The funny thing is, I think I'm right in saying I'm ranking it lower this time, but I like it more, which is a really strange one. It's actually testament to some of the films around it, I think. It just remains for us to say where you can find us on social media. In my case, you can find me at thepastykid1976 on Twitter.
You can find me at Cinetronics on Twitter, and you can find this podcast as well as the other podcasts I do on cinetronics.co.uk.
You can follow me on Twitter at _viewmovies, or you can follow us on Twitter at expectustotalk, facebook.com/expectustotalk, or email expectustotalk@gmail.com. Do you expect us to talk? We'll return with the rankings episode.